Recorded live.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Müvment Boxing Podcast. You know, we bring you the latest and greatest in boxing news, unfiltered, unbiased, uncut, raw. You know what I'm saying? Telling you what the mainstream won't. With that said, we're going to get things started with some introductions. First, I'm Twine the Divine Liberty of Hooджab.com, moderator. And we're going to pass it on to the panelists for tonight's show. As usual, we got our co-hosts on the Truth and Facts About Boxing. We got Bo and Bernard. What's good with y'all, fellas?
What's good, Twine? It's your boy, Detective B. I've been missing for 2 weeks because I was looking for Peter Quillen. What's up, people?
All right. If we hold it down to our fellas who couldn't be on today's show, of course, we got 2K, the Prodigy. He can't make it on today's show. So, you know, we're going to hold it down for him. And, of course, Big Cool from Colossal Boxing Talk. So, you know, we look forward to hearing from y'all fellas next week, man, when y'all can join us again. With that said, let's get it going on these topics for tonight, I guess, man. Y'all ready?
Yes, sir. Hey, we're ready, man.
All right. We're going to start off with a review of actually a women's titles fight that happened last night in Puerto Rico. Amanda Serrano taking on Edina Kiss in a rematch. This was her defending her WBO Women's Junior Featherweight title. She won by a third-round stoppage. That's it. Let me go ahead and pass it on to Bo. Get a breakdown of this fight, what he saw, what he liked from Serrano, just what he thought about it.
Well, first off, we have to remember this was a woman that she had beat previously, so there was no, like, big-time, there was no, there was no, like, I guess, expectation of an upset or anything of that kind, because even after she beat you the first time, Edina Kiss did go on to have some victories, but she still didn't look, so great in some of those fights she had. And in this fight, you can tell right away that Serrano was just the superior fighter. I mean, the girl she fought couldn't get out of the way of that straight left hand. I mean, my God. I think her left hand hurt. I mean, dog, she threw more or less straight left hands than jabs. What the hell? So the girl couldn't get her way out of that. The most exciting part of this fight is when Serrano had a Janet Jackson Super Bowl malfunction. That was probably the most exciting part of it. But, she was going to the body. And the thing about boxers when they fight wild fighters is they're always worried about getting hit with something, wild. So they don't try to be aggressive and go at them. And this situation, Serrano did go at it because she was always able to see the punches coming. And then the girl would go backwards also as well. So, I mean, I'm not even going to lie to you, man. I'm not excited. We was sitting in the queue with Charles when I watched it because I already knew. She knocked the girl out the first time. She knocked out in the second round. I think this time she finished off in the third. The referee stopped it. So I already knew how this was going to go down because the sad part that a lot of people probably don't like admitting is when a person knocks you out, like in the first round or two, normally, 9 times out of 10, when you face them again, that person that knocked you out, unless you know, hey, I just got caught with something, like I think Jarrell Corrales, when he knocked out, what's his name in the first round? What's the guy's name? What's the guy Jarrell Corrales knocked out to win the title?
Uchiyama.
Right, Uchiyama. When he knocked out Uchiyama, we all know Uchiyama was better than that. And Corrales knew. He just caught him with something. So in the rematch, it went a full 12 rounds because Uchiyama, he knew he was better than that. But in a situation when you're not that good and you get knocked out early in the first or second round, you're more apprehensive coming into the next fight because you're thinking, I'm not really that good or I haven't really improved that great. So you come into that fight with, the same way, and that's what it appeared to me from Kiss. So, but I mean, I take nothing away from her. She fought good. She got to stop it. She, took care of business. I got to ask yourself, I don't see her going up in weight again. She went already up 5 divisions. So I don't see her going up in weight. If she goes up in weight in the 6th division and fight then in that division, that'll be a very good feat for her.
All right. Let me go ahead and pass it on to Bernard, man. What were some of the things you liked in this fight, or take away some of the things you didn't like as well, if you did come across any of those in the 3 rounds?
Well, I really, like I said, that straight left was on point. It was consistent. As soon as she hit her in the 2nd round and it rocked her, it had Chrissy hesitating. Didn't really want to engage. She was throwing anything to hopefully, like throwing a punch, praying and hoping it would land, but it wasn't working. Serrano kept attacking the body to get them openings, to continue to get that left hand in there and hopefully get to the knockout. I also saw her using the right hook. It was connecting as well. There's nothing really you could take away negative about this fight that I saw, because she did what she was supposed to do. She fought this person. She knocked out in the previous fight, in the first fight in the 5th round. She got her out there quicker than that in this fight. So she did what she's supposed to do. I think Chrissy, if anything, may want to go back to the drawing board for her and definitely make some improvements on how to deal with a pressure fighter, how to learn how to clinch. Those are some of the things I know that she wasn't trying to do, and she wasn't really being that much. When she engaged, she wasn't really landing anything. She was just throwing wild punches, like she was just in a panic. Like, basically, she needs to calm down, relax. If you get hit with something, clinch, or not necessarily back. I won't say back away, but use that jab. Her jab, the jab she was throwing out there was totally weak. So that's what, if anything, the negative things I would say I would point out to her opponent. That's who I would go for.
All right, yeah. This is definitely a fight to where I guess Amanda could throw what she wanted to throw, which is why she was able to throw that straight lead left so much as opposed to her jab. She did throw it, I guess, the first round and kind of abandoned it over the next couple of rounds, going left hand heavy, even to the body. But yeah, I'm not quite sure where she goes from here. She's kind of done a lot of skipping around the divisions. So I'd like to actually see her go for some kind of unification in this division. That would be, I think, something stellar in her career, because she hasn't done that in the other divisions she's fought in. She's just won titles in them. And like I said, she's kind of skipped around, which is one of the things 2K says he's kind of had against her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you know what? I agree with that. I agree. And see, the thing that this is what, like a lot of people, even when we do the not to get off topic, but even when we do the men's pound for pound list, and I say this is why I rate Crawford over Lomanchenko, is because Crawford is winning multiple titles. He's about to become unified, and you've never done the same thing with, like, when B was talking about that with Manny Pacquiao at 147. He's only won 1 title at 147. He's never became, a unified.
Right. Never unified, never fought any of the other top guys in that division.
Yeah. Neither is Tim Bradley. So that's why when, if you ask me to rate, the pound for pound, it's like, okay, Ward and Crawford, because they've multiple titles. Ward did it at 168 and 175. Crawford, he's doing it at 140. So that speaks volumes, and of course people are going to say, oh, well, they don't want to fight him. Well, man, you got to crack, you got to crank open that bank account sometimes, man.
Yeah. One of the other things we've been seeing, I just recently came across, is Amanda Serrano's thinking about making the jump to MMA.
Yeah, I was about to say that. On her Instagram. I saw that too.
Yeah, so I think, she's saying she's having problems, getting opponents, but they're going to seek a unification, I guess, at this weight before anything else. But yeah, she is looking to make the jump to MMA from what it's looking like. If this unification bout with Anna Laura Estes can't get made for, I guess, what would be the WBO title.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty interesting. That said, I guess we'll go ahead and jump into our next review. It won't be really review. We'll just give you pretty much the outcome of the fight, because it was a fight that happened today in Japan, and it just we just came across video of it on YouTube. So it was late getting video, so weren't able to break it down or analyze it. But it's looking like, excuse me, Ryoichi Taguchi retained his title, his WBA light flyweight title. It was a 9th round TKO over Robert Barrera in Japan today. So as we said, last week on the show before we previewed it, his only loss is really to Naoya Inoue. So he's a really talented guy in that division. We had another Japanese Japanese youngin. These guys are winning titles in a short amount of time. Hiroto Kayaguchi, he won his first title, after only a year of being professional today. So that's pretty interesting to see right there. But he captured the IBF 105-pound title. So be on the lookout for these Japanese guys at the flyweight, junior flyweight divisions. They're making a lot of noise and they're doing it fast. We pay a lot of attention to the Lomachenkos and stuff like that. I've done it under 10 fights, I guess, because they're in a higher weight class. But these guys are doing the same thing in just a smaller division. So, we need to give these guys their recognition the same way. Is there anything you guys want to add in about those?
Respect to them. No, just respect to acknowledging that. Yeah, we should. Even though we doing it, but other boxing fans should look into it as well. Take note. Just research.
We try to push the lower weights just because they're high action fights, the kind of fights that people seem to, the casuals even tend to like for entertainment value. And they're great fighters. All competitive fights. So definitely stay paying attention to the smaller weights, even though they don't get as much television recognition, and a lot of the fights are overseas. But if you could come across the fights on YouTube or anything streaming them, definitely pay attention to them when you can. So I guess we're going to get into this week's news, starting with Lomachenko finally came out with a statement after all the taunting from Guillermo Rigondeaux over the past few weeks on social media about his fight against Miguel Mariaga. Basically, Lomachenko says he wants Rigondeaux next, man. Let me get you guys' thoughts on this, starting off with Bernard.
He said he wants Rigo.
Yeah, he said it next.
After Mariaga.
Yep. That was his first public statement about it since all the public taunting and all that.
So you need a tune-up before you take on Rigo? So you telling me, Loma, you need a tune-up? Rigo wanted you after his fight with Flores, and you still couldn't produce. Now all of a sudden you want him? Okay. I'm going to say this, one of my favorite sayings. I believe it when I see it. Because he has two people that run his career. His promoter and Bob Arum, and his manager in Clemens. Arum ain't going to let that fly. We already saw what happened when Donaire went up against Rigo and lost. So Bob Arum don't want to lose that. Have Lomachenko lose, trust me. So he's gonna blow that shit up. And if Lomachenko gets out of pocket, it turns out, when I mean out of pocket, don't want to do what he tells him to do, look for to find some way to throw him against somebody that could cause him to lose. That's all I'm gonna say. We see him do it with Pacquiao because he went try to make that fight with Khan. So just be mindful of that.
All right, let me pass it on to Bo. You got a lot of insight on the things going on with Rigo's camp. What's your take on on this comment from Lomachenko? Seems like it was kind of a loaded response as well, but I'll touch on that after you go. Go ahead, man.
I'll be honest with you, man. Here's a reality that I even hate to admit. I think if this fight don't happen, regardless of the reason, Rigo's gonna get the blame for it. And the reason why I say this is, we know Bob Arum, and I keep bringing this shit up. We know Bob Arum said November 3rd, 2015, how he didn't care to make that fight. Then he said it again, November 23rd. He said it's a fight that he don't want to make because Rigo, although he won every round, looked boring, Lomanchenko don't need to be in there, or somebody's gonna make him look bad. So if Rock Nation called, hang the fucking phone up. This is something he said in November 2015. As a matter of fact, I think it was shortly even after that, he said, I think it was either the ending part of last year or the beginning part of this year, when he said Rigo Lomachenko is a shit fight. Okay? So we know he said this, but yet people don't ever admit that they will always tell me things that Rigo said in February of 2015 and ignore what was said by Bob Arum after February, that same year and the following year. Lomanchenko finally responds, okay, fine, I'm glad he did. I mean, I am going to throw shade at the fact that it took him this long to respond because Rigo had been fucking talking shit about him for quite some time, and he responded. And, of course, Bob Arum in that same article said that, well, I still haven't heard nothing from nobody on Rigo's side. And everybody's like, see, nobody from Rigo called Bob. Well, why haven't Bob reached out to Rigo? Like, a phone call is a two-way street. See, and that's the thing that kills me because Mariaga team didn't call Bob Arum, did they? No, Bob Arum called Mariaga. Okay? Orlando Salido team didn't call Bob Arum. No, Bob Arum's team called Orlando Salido. So that shit when people say, oh, well, how come Rigo team haven't called him? Well, how come Bob haven't? I mean, a phone call is a two-way fucking street. You know what I'm saying? Egis Klimas went out and said, if Rigo want us, come to 130. Rigo said, okay, fine, we'll come to 130. And the fucked up thing about that, Egis Klimas also said, we ain't trying to fight at 126. We're not looking backwards. Well, you look backwards to get Mariaga, didn't you? You look down at 126 to get Mariaga, right? So what the fuck was that about? Okay? But, you know, coming from the man, and Bob Arum is saying he still haven't heard from nobody. Rigo put out a tweet that said 4 days ago, somebody from my team, from Top Rank, contacted me. I gave them my manager's number. And I always point this out to people. I say every time, this is, if you're going to, see, that's why, like that, he say, she say shit I don't get into. Okay? But my thing is, if somebody say something and then somebody say something, like if you say something about somebody and then they come out and say something back, and then you say something else and they come out and say something back, that's a sign to me that they really do want something. Or, you know, they want people to know something. Rigo put that tweet out there. He said it. Bob is saying, well, I still haven't heard from them. Okay. How come, my thing is, okay, how come you haven't called them? Why are you sitting there waiting for them to call you? How come you haven't called them? And then, of course, it's the same Bob Arum that made the statement that, you know, I was lying yesterday. Oh, but today I'm telling the truth. That same Bob that's telling us I was lying yesterday, but today I'm telling the truth. So, you know, I mean, people want to believe it because they don't like Rigo. See, that's the thing. They don't believe it because they don't like Rigo. But at the same time, I will say this, though. The reason why people aren't getting on them about it is because Rigo hasn't really been doing things to make himself really relevant. My partner said it one time, too. Rigo should have took the Golovkin route, which is, man, just fight any motherfucking body. And people would be talking shit about, oh, you beating up bombs, but at least you would have been fighting people. So just fight any motherfucker. As long as you're fighting, regardless of, they're going to talk about you even if you know what I'm saying, even if you do fight. He fight Flores. And I heard motherfuckers talking shit about that. So they're going to talk shit regardless. So stay busy and fight. And that's the thing. But I'm with my man. Look, I believe it when I see it because the reality is I have said this 1,000 times. I never believed Bob Arum wanted to put Rigo in there with Lomanchenko. I I believe Lomanchenko wants to fight Rigo. I believe Rigo wants to fight Lomanchenko. Bob Arum don't want that fight to happen. And we know how Bob can be when he don't want to make a fight. Like, people will forever blame Floyd for the Pacquiao fight taking so long. But, I mean, have we forgotten when Bob Arum said, oh, I want to build a stadium? And the stadium won't be built in time for the fight to happen. I mean, have we forgotten some of the shit that Bob said, too? See, and that's the thing that kills me. So if you don't like somebody, you're only going to take one side. If the fight happens, the only reason why I'm kind of doubting it happens, he has Mariaga. Then Rigo, of course, the WBA has reordered that fight with him and Flores. And we've yet to see when that takes place. You see what I'm saying? So I actually hope it finally does happen. And let me just say this. After Flores, if Rigo don't get Lomanchenko, what he needs to do is go to 130, challenge one of them other champions and grab a belt. Now you got to deal with this motherfucker, whether you want to or not, because if he snatches the belt at 130, now you got to deal with him. Then we'll see. But as you know, I know us here on this panel, we'll always be viewed as being biased and all that when it comes to this, and nobody's biased. I'm not saying the fighters don't want to fight. I'm saying the managerial team have opened their mouth, then backtracked, then said something different. The managerial team don't want to fight, and they really don't want to fight. So it is what it is at this point. Until they fight, I'm gonna stop talking about. I'm not even getting arguments with people about it no more, because people want to omit certain facts, and you're not going to change their mind, because when it's their favorite fighter, they're not going to do what we're going to do. And I know people probably listening to this, and I'm going to end it because I know I'm going on, because it pisses me off, but I'm going to end it. But people not going to do what we're going to do, but they always say how biased we are. But those same people that say we biased, go back and listen to the tapes. The same month, we talk about every fucking body the same way. Andre Ward, Rigo. I said on this show that fucking Rigo not on my top 10, beating some Jazzy Dickens. I said on another show how Edizani Lauder needs to get his ass moving. You had Jared Hurd and other motherfuckers in your division fighting motherfuckers. You better get your ass moving. I heard you put that tweet out. Are you talking to Boo Boo? See, we do that kind of shit. Other motherfuckers don't do that, man. So, like my partner said, when it happens, that's when I believe it. Outside of that, I'm not having this discussion with motherfuckers no more, because people will leave out certain things because they either like one fighter so much or they hate the other fighter.
I mean, I'm starting to lean towards that side to where, yeah, we're not gonna see it, man. That window's closing. Like you said, Rigo has the WBA ordered rematch with Moises Flores, which I think was the ultimate nail in the coffin in this match. If, that fight would have ended in a regular fashion, without all the other BS, I think it may have been a possibility for a fall. But with that being ordered, Bob trying to keep Loma busy, I mean, there's no unifications for Loma at 130, so, they're already playing a hand that they're going to move up to 135. So, I mean, that window's closing, man, and, even if Rigo jumps up to 130 to challenge somebody, you got to think Loma, I mean, he's going to be long gone. The way the landscape at 130 is looking, like, we'll see Burchelt and Corrales unify, before anybody else. We won't see Tank unify against Loma anytime soon, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, ultimately, I see Loma moving up to 135. And then the window on this fight is closing, man. So, I mean, I could kind of agree with Bo. There's nothing to talk about anymore. They let this shit fester, and Bob played his hand in ruining the possibility of the fight actually happening. So, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see, I guess, over the next couple months. But I got a feeling, like I said, Bob wants to keep Loma busy. And if there's no fights for him at 130 as far as unifications, which it's not looking like, he's going to move to 135. But, there is still that possibility, he could stay. to wait for Rigo for a super fight before growing up. So, we'll have to hope. We'll just hope for that, But like I said, I don't see it happening. Let's go ahead and jump into our next topic, which is a pretty interesting one. It has a lot of elements involved in it. Bo brought this to our attention earlier this morning, so I kind of felt like it was something we needed to talk about, especially considering everything else involved in it. Looking like Bermane Stiverne missed his VADA performance-enhancing drug testing on Monday, for the WBC's clean testing program. He is the mandatory for Deontay Wilder's WBC heavyweight title, as we all know. This kind of throws a monkey wrench in that, though, with him being the mandatory, because with a missed drug test, that counts as a fail. Also at play, we had mentioned of Deontay Wilder being in contractual talks to fight Luis Ortiz in November. So let's just go ahead and break it down. I'm going to go ahead and I'll let Bernard break down the news part, and I'll let Bo throw some details out there as far as what's going to happen, man. Bernard, could you tell us pretty much what happened as far as with Bermane Stiverne this week, other than the WBC drug test missing a drug test?
I thought that's the only thing I know is the drug test. There's something I must have missed. I know that he missed a day. Supposedly missed a day. We already know that he has failed the drug test, and let's make it very clear. The test that he failed, not the test. What he failed was not because of steroids. It was because of what he had in I guess you would say a sports drink or energy drink or whatever he was trying to take for him to help while he was working out, getting prepping for the Povetkin fight. So, with that being said, I think I don't think it's a red flag. I don't think it should be a concern because he's only been popped for that situation. Now, if he did drink something that has an effect on him, which is not a steroid, then yeah, maybe he just needs to be mindful of what he takes in his body. If that's why he missed the test, but that's only an assumption. We don't know why he missed the test. There was who was the other fighter this week that missed the drug test? Or was it last week?
Joseph Parker.
What was that? That was Joseph Parker.
Joseph Parker, right.
Yeah, Joseph Parker missed the test. So I wouldn't look too much into it. We don't know why. It could be personal reasons. It could be something that came up. Now, that's all I know for the Bermane Stiverne part as well. Let's not forget this. He doesn't want to let that his mandatory spot go. He wants his rematch against Wilder. With that being said, he's very adamant on not taking any step-aside money with Don King as his promoter. I'm pretty sure Don King is trying to talk him out of it and try to say, hey, yo, let him, But here's my thing with Wilder and Bermane Stiverne. I wish Wilder, after he fought Gerald Washington, fought Bermane Stiverne right now, because I think that'd be a perfect time for him to take a break, get back into the training game, and he should be having a fight either this month or next month. And then he could have fought Luis Ortiz afterwards. Because with that fight lingering and nothing's going on, it's taking too long. And you're going to have the issue of Bermane Stiverne basically blocking his fight until you make it happen, or you're going to risk getting stripped of your title, and you don't want to do that. So that's on my thing. Wilder should have took that fight. Bermane Stiverne, I can't tell him he should take a step aside money, but if I was, hey, fight him. If you could beat Wilder, which you got only a puncher's chance, which I don't see that happening, go for it.
All right, Bo. Is there anything you want to chime in on this topic? The drug test caught everybody off guard considering, what Bermane Stiverne did earlier in the week to try and block these Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz talks and signing Jay Prince as his manager to put a block on this are the talks. Let me go ahead and get your thoughts on that, on everything that happened with Bermane this week, and how do you see this ultimately playing out now with this drug test coming out and it ultimately counting as a miss or a failure?
This throws a lot of speculation out there. For example, King might have been trying to negotiate step aside because he knew about this. And he was probably like, look, before this hammer drop, let me put some money in your pocket. Because it counts as a failed, and the WBC can take away, they have legal rights where they can take away or reevaluate your fucking situation as number one. Okay? Now, of course, it's the WBC, and they have been scared to pull the fucking trigger on everything. So we can't jump up and down a hip-hop parade just yet. But it puts that in there. So maybe that's why King was like, let me negotiate this. But, it brings me to something that somebody said. It's the same thing like with Boo Boo Andrade. Don't talk and bark when your shit ain't straight. Make sure your shit is tight first before you start doing all this talking and barking. Because you missed this drug test. For whatever reason you miss it, if you miss it, it counts as a fail. Now you put yourself in a peculiar situation where if the WBC do decide to snatch it, now you didn't get no step-aside money. So now you got no money, no motherfucking fight. Okay? And let's just keep it real. People want to say, like there are people who are saying, oh, the only reason why people don't want to see the Stiverne fight because of him, Wilder talking about fighting Ortiz. No. When it was announced Povetkin was fighting Stiverne, people was like, we hope Povetkin wins because we don't want to see that fucking Stiverne fight again. Okay? This was even back then. So it puts that monkey wrench in there. Another monkey wrench that it puts in there is the WBC might take its time making its decision. And this is the perfect opportunity right now for Wilder because of what's being held up on the Anthony Joshua side with Vladimir. Perfect opportunity for him to steal some of that steam back on his side by fighting Luis Ortiz. Now, we talked about this before, and I think I said that as soon as the WBC announced him as number one contender, Wilder should have hurried up. It was February. Wilder should have been like, hey, man, April, dog, that's it, that's your ass. And got him the fuck out the way in April, and he wouldn't have had to worry about none of that shit. That's exactly what he should have did. So, although I applaud Wilder for their aggressiveness because his team is putting that out there like, yo, we might go this route. Might be like, hey, he failed that test. We can skip over him. Or while y'all figure out what the fuck to do with him, let us make a fight. Do something, right? They could do that. They could get aggressive like that. Of course, Stiverne, I also feel like, he's right because, hey, I'm the Mando. So if I don't want to take step aside, because what's the one thing we said about Gennady Golovkin? Yo, man, you never should have took that step aside against Cotto and Canelo Alvarez. You should have, you shouldn't have took that step aside. It should have been like, fight him. But I understand why, because you're getting $800,000 to take a step aside, and then you go off and take the fight for $2 million. That's almost $3 million, easy work. So I understand that part of it. But he's earned that spot. He's earned that right. But I mean, this is turning into a big mess, and it really is. And I truly feel like at this point, Deontay Wilder and them should either do one or two things: go to Stiverne and say, "Hey, man, look, this is what we're going to do. You missed this drug test. WBC might snatch your ass out, might snatch your ass out or sit your ass again because of this. So we still talking about giving you step-aside money. Do you want to take it? If not, dog, then probably what's going to wind up happening is we're going to give you the finger and say, fuck you, and go ahead on and fight Luis Ortiz, let you take us to motherfucking court, and while you tied up in all that shit, we going to still be fucking fighting, making money, while you sitting, because these procedures can take up to a fucking year. So, your move, Black. And that's really what they should sit down and tell him. Let me fight Luis Ortiz. I'll get you after that. Here, take this step aside. Let me fight Luis Ortiz. Then, dog, I'll get you next. Promise. I'll get you there. Because if I fight Ortiz and beat Ortiz, my stock goes up. Now I got enough, and I can produce enough people that wouldn't mind watching me fight you because I beat Luis Ortiz. So, let's make that happen. Or they could just say, well, fuck you then, man. We're going to fight Luis Ortiz. You take us to court, motherfucker. We got lawyers. We got money, too. While you sitting out not making money, we're going to keep it moving. And that's what really what they need to tell him. But it's definitely a mess, and that's probably why Don King was trying to take that step aside, because he saw, man, this dude missed a drug. And it's funny that it came out, too. This could even be Don King, like, oh, you want to hire lawyers and bring other motherfuckers in? Oh, shit, okay, let me show you what I can do. Because remember, the WBC has been Don King's. Don King in the WBC is what Bob Arum is with the WBO. And let's not forget that. So, it's a lot of things that can go on. But I honestly feel like he needs to approach Bermane Stiverne, give it to him like that, or like my man said, go ahead, listen, man, fight this motherfucker next week, get him out the way, and move on. But we need some resolve here.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple. That's all he could have did, because it kept it simple.
Yep.
I agree. Stiverne just played himself here, man. This missed test is gonna really bite him. I think he's gonna get stripped of his Mando, clearing that one hurdle that we thought was gonna be to the Luis Ortiz Deontay Wilder matchup. It's no longer there, man. Of course, we had to wait and hear his reason behind missing the test. But we'll see how he plays out with the WBC. But I think he's going to lose his Mando over this. No way around it. And we should be seeing Wilder versus Ortiz in the fall, man. So, that's really the best way everybody wants this to play out anyway. People aren't happy with Wilder's opponent selection, albeit not always his fault because of this WBC mandatory situation and the shit with his two of his opponents popping dirty.
But you know what, Juan? This is what I hate.
Go ahead.
This is what I hate, though, Juan. This is what I hate, right? And my partner brings this up too. He said this like this. Like one thing I can say about Bernard has been consistent, right? When people was clowning Gennady Golovkin for fighting mandatory, people was like, hey, he fighting his mandatory. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he been consistent about. Okay, but if you look at Duhaupas, you look at Gerald Washington, you look at Molina, look at Phil, these guys was ranked in the top fucking 10 of the WBC. It's not like he was fighting motherfuckers that was ranked 15 and 20 and shit. He's fighting motherfuckers ranked in the top 10 while his Mando got straightened out. See what I'm saying? But yet people still kind of shit on that. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, but I got heat for that, like, because I said he should. Because I said that, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh no, he shouldn't. I said if he's fighting top 10 based on his sanction, don't get me wrong, y'all wanted to see him fight top 10 guys, but let's be honest. This is when it comes to the sports side of boxing and the business side of boxing.
Yeah.
Right now, you have these promoters that are willing to work with each other, and you got the promoters willing to not working with each other. Then you got promoters that, hey, they want to let their fighters fight anybody because they're confident in their fighters. You got promoters that are confident in their fighters, but also see them as cash cows, so they want to protect them. There's a lot of variables people need to understand. So if he's going to continue to fight top 10 guys in the WBC, and you fine it, let him do that. My thing is this, though, right? You cannot blame him for who he's fighting, because if that's how they are ranked in the WBC, hold the WBC accountable for how they do their ranking system and not doing a very good check. In fact, hold all sanctioning bodies on how they do these ranking systems. Remember, 2K went in on the WBO about the Pacquiao Horn fight and how those fighters were all ranked and everything. So if we're going to, like both said, you would say, be fair in your assessment. I say, if he's going to continue to fight top 10 and that's how the business side is going to allow him to do it, let Deontay do it. In the meantime, between time, hopefully he could continue to work. His managers and promoters could get something together to work with other promoters to get him the big name fight. But if it's not going to happen, let him fight. Gennady did the same thing. Guys didn't want to fight him, so you know what? Hey, who's on my list? Willie Monroe. Okay, he's a mandatory for what the belt? The WBA. Okay, I'll fight him. Who's next? Dominic Wade, mandatory for what belt? IBF. Oh, okay, I'll fight him next. Don't quote me on those belts, but that's what Gennady did, and there was no problem because he had plenty of belts. Deontay only got the WBC, and yes, that's the most prestigious belt in boxing, and yes, he should be fighting all top guys, but you have to understand. Bro, and as I always say, there's a business side of boxing and there's a sports side. And right now, a lot of business is affecting what you want to see on the sports side. So just take it for what it is. I digress. I'll pass it back to you, Bo.
No, that's true, and we're seeing that right now. The business side, Bermane Stiverne don't want to take step aside money. That's actually a business side, and you're right. And that's getting in the way of us seeing a fight that's really good for boxing. But we got to give Wilder credit because we asked him to step it up. He looked for Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker said, "Nah, I don't want none." He's looking at Luis Ortiz, and somebody's in the way of that. Like, where was Stiverne when they was looking at Joseph Parker? Where was he like, "No, you can't fight Joseph Parker, dog. You got to fight me." Where was he at then? Why now? See, so it's a lot, dog.
All right. So you guys got anything else you want to add on this one, or can we go into the next one?
We can go to the next one.
Yeah, go to the next one.
All right. So we'll definitely see how this plays out, man. I'm waiting to hear next. What we'll be looking for next is pretty much Bermane Stiverne's statement from his team about missing the test, and then how the WBC is going to move forward with this. So we'll be keeping you guys updated in the upcoming weeks on that, as it moves forward, especially with these contract talks that play with Ortiz and Wilder. So it's a lot at stake right now. I said we're going to go into our next topic, man. It's a pretty interesting one, man. Kind of wish 2K was on the show to hear what he thought about this one, about this specific order from the WBA. Jorge WBA ordered Jorge Linares to face Luke Campbell for what is it, the junior lightweight, I believe, or lightweight title, WBA lightweight title. So they'll be going into negotiations, and if not, they'll have to hit a purse bid, I'm assuming. Let me get you guys' thoughts on this fight, man. This announcement by the WBA. Starting off with you, Bo.
Oh, man, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not crazy about this announcement. I was hoping Jorge Linares would have gotten
Mikey Garcia.
Yeah, I was hoping he got Mikey Garcia, and when it didn't happen, Mikey Garcia went to Adrien Broner. I thought then what's going to happen in the Jorge Linares. So I can't sit and say I'm crazy about it now. I will say this. I think it's a stay busy fight. I wish Jorge Linares he needs some American exposure because he fights over in the UK mostly, and he's a Golden Boy guy. So he needs some American exposure. So I wish this fight would be over here in the U.S. I hope it actually takes place over here in the U.S. I'm not upset at them ordering this fight. And if he takes this fight, like I said, it's him staying busy. But Jorge Linares' skill set level is way above Luke Campbell. It really is. It's way above Luke Campbell. So after this, and after Mikey fights Broner, whatever happens, I hope him and Jorge Linares can make a fight. It will all come down to whether Oscar De La Hoya wants to work with Al Haymon to make. I mean, he's worked with he's had Al Haymon's fighter on his card before, but this is the one where you got a potential situation where your guy could actually lose. So it'll definitely be interesting. But I can't say I'm angry at this, and it's a stay busy fight. Remember, he just got through fighting Correa for the second time. So if it's a stay busy fight, I'm not gonna get mad at it at all. Period.
Let me get your thoughts on it, Bernard.
I agree with my partner, Bo, on that. It is a stay busy fight. It's a fight we don't want to see. Hold on. If I'm correct, I don't want to step ahead. I don't know if y'all went on this a few weeks ago or when it happened. Isn't Terry Flanagan in the
we got coming up. We'll get into that in the hot one. Well, it's part of the topic list, man. We'll get into it.
Okay. Well,
if you got anything you wanted to add as far as them unifying or something like that, I guess.
Okay, I agree with my partner, and I guess I will have to wait till the next topic to further my extend on that part. But I agree with my partner on what he just said. Let's don't call it for what it is. There is a Cold War when it comes to Golden Boy and Heyman and Al Heyman, management or whoever, because Golden Boy doesn't want to work. Not saying they don't want to work for Al Heyman. They only work for Al Heyman's side shows. Let's put it that way. Khan, Julius Caesar, Salad. With that being said, yeah, it is a potential chance for Linares to lose that fight against Mikey Garcia. I wish he would have took the fight, but for whatever reason, I don't want to necessarily blame it on Linares, because like I just said in the previous statement, this is another side where the business side is affecting what we want to see on the sports side. We want to see Mikey Garcia versus Jorge Linares in a unification bout. That would be a fight. Definitely, I would love to see the fight. Put it in the StubHub in California. Yeah, I think that would be a great fight for everybody to see. But the issue is, Oscar, that's technically one. I don't want to think I don't want to Oscar's cash cows, but he's bringing him some money from overseas by him having a fight in the UK. I do believe both. He does need some American exposure.
Yeah, I don't have to sink any money into him because he's getting all this UK money with Eddie Hearn. So I mean, there's no investment coming out of Golden Boy's pocket, no loss at all.
Right. So
on to a belt.
Right. So with that being said, you ain't got to do it, and you would think with him being Hispanic, you would have him fighting on ESPN too. That would be some great exposure. What is I don't know, maybe it's a Stay Busy fight. I would have said hell. Since Gamboa is on the downside, are they in the same weight class before I make this statement?
No, Gamboa was fighting at 130 most recently in his most recent fight.
So so he ended up 135. All right, cool. So no, I don't want to have Gamboa up. It didn't have to move up. No, but it's a Stay Busy fight. Kind of wish he could have picked another top opponent, but with that being said, okay, I'll speak on the rest of it because I want to on that Felix and Flanagan fight.
All right. Man, honestly, I'm not too thrilled about the announcement, but at the same time, I'm happy because, I mean, this may be the final nail in the coffin for another one of these. I don't know. Y'all gonna think I'm biased against UK fighters. I just hate the damn hype jobs that go behind these guys, and they don't do nothing once they face an American or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen it plenty of times. So that's the only thing. Like, we've seen Luke Campbell. You know, he had a stellar amateur career, winning an Olympic gold medal. So, you know, he had a lot of hype behind him, you know, getting into his pro career. But I've never been that impressed with him. You know, I've seen him lose to Yvonne Mendy, and I was like, okay, he is what I thought he was in these other fights that he was winning. Like, I didn't see anything special. You know, so when he lost, I was like, it wasn't surprising. You know, I never thought he was that great. But he's unleashed a couple good wins recently, especially his most recent win, a knockout against Darlis Perez, you know, who was a former title contender himself. So, I mean, it's a good fight. It's definitely gonna Campbell definitely presents some challenges for Linares, being a taller, more ranger fighter. You know, Linares is usually the bigger fighter in most of his fights, but in this fight it would actually be Campbell who has like the longer reach and is the taller of the fighters. But I mean, I think Linares, his speed, timing, he should be able to beat this guy. Like, he, you know, Luke Campbell is a veteran, 29 years old, but he's still, he's only been fighting a couple of years as a pro. And I think the Martez, the experience factor, the guys, he's fought every style out there. So I expect him to win this fight. But yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing this latest UK derailment of a hype job. I don't want to hear from him anymore after this loss. I don't want to hear any more about him. Go back, win some regional belts. But I don't want to hear about that shit. You know what I'm saying? As far as him being a contender. Guess we'll go ahead and go into our next topic if you guys don't have anything else to add to that one.
Mm-mm. Nope.
All right, we got another fight in the works here. Interesting because we never know what to believe with this guy. So it's kind of like, yeah. It's looking like Jose Pedraza is in talks for another fight to make his debut at 135, this time against ex-135 champion from the TMT stable, Mickey Bey. Actually a solid fight, you know what I'm saying? Decent competitive fight, outside of all the other BS that's going on with his camp. I'll go ahead and let Bo touch on this one, your initial thoughts about this Pedraza.
Really?
Yeah.
You want me to talk about Mickey fucking Bey, man? Really? Really, man?
Hey, it's us world titles, man. You gotta respect them. Respect that as champ.
It's a world title fight.
No, I said respect that as champ.
The talking about Pedraza?
Both of them. Shit.
What the fuck? What fucking belt did Mickey Bey hold? What, the Kmart Aisle 12 special belt? What the fuck? You know what, man? Honestly, I'll be honest with you. It actually is a good fight. Pedraza is coming off of a loss, his last fight. He lost to Tank Davis. Mickey Bey needs to get his name out there, and he really hasn't. Mickey Bey has never really been that impressive to me. I'll be honest with you. But this is a chance for Mickey Bey to get probably pick up a win against the former world champion. Hopefully, get some more steam behind him, and get himself going. So I'm not even gonna lie. Even though I'm not a big fan of Mickey Bey, this is actually a good fight for him. I can actually see Pedraza beating him because, like I said, Mickey Bey has never really impressed me, and he hasn't fought in a minute. But all in all, I can't be mad at this fight. The thing that bothers me though is that, I don't know what is it about guys who are super successful at a sport, but they lousy at spotting fucking talent. Because I would love to know what the fuck is it about Mickey Bey and Jelly. I love that Floyd sees so much. Like Mickey Bey,
it's the ego. See, here's the thing.
It's gotta be because remember
you don't want nobody better than him or better than him that can surpass him. Yeah, he working with Tank Davis. You know what I'm saying? And that I'm not gonna say Tank Davis is gonna surpass Floyd. I highly doubt that. But he's not. The fighters he's choosing aren't making an impact. The only person that may be two people I'm looking at right now in the stable, and I apologize for cutting you off, is to Andrew to Benny, the cruiserweight, and Davis Devin Haney. Those are the only two people I'm looking at that stable right now that are working, and that's only because they're working under Floyd Sr.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, yeah.
But see, my thing is, if I'm going to put my name on you, I'm going to put my tag on you, you got to be fucking good. Or, I mean, if at least as good as me, I mean, I don't have a problem with you being better. I'm putting my name and my tag on you. And, as a matter of fact, I think it was Mickey Bey who he had called, Floyd had called some cat and tell him, hey, man, we're not going to hold you with TNT no more. You know what I'm saying? He used that nigga like a secretary. So I don't know what it is about that Floyd sees that he keeps giving these guys opportunity to keep them around. But this is a good opportunity for Mickey Bey. And if he wins, if he beats Pedraza, and Pedraza's former champion, more power to him. Let's get it going. But it's not a bad fight, and I'm being honest with you, man. I actually will watch that fight.
All right, Bernard, anything else you want to chime in on this one before I go on?
Well, I'll watch it too, but I wanted to ask Bo a question. If he remembers that incident with Mickey Bey, it was a purse bid that he, instead of taking the high money,
yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
He was gonna get $200,000.
$200,000,
and he tried to bite the hand and fed him. And Floyd was like, "Oh, you instead of taking the $200,000, you gonna let it go to purse bid? Think I'm gonna try to outbid?" I think it was Bob Arams.
Yeah,
right. It was Bob Arams. He wound up getting something like he went from getting $200,000 to like $40,000 or something like that. Ridiculous.
Yeah, just such it. Not the brightest guy, but yeah. I digress. Next topic.
But no, I'm gonna go in on this one, and I mean, both of these fighters have been inactive. I mean, Pedraza has yet to step back in the ring since his knockout loss to Tank Davis. I'm thinking, I don't know. There's a lot going on with Pedraza right now. You know, when we do hear about him now, it's him being unhappy. Pretty much, you know, with you know, we heard about them being unhappy with being part of the Heyman stable. Then, you know, we hear about him. He was straight drained against Tank Davis. Then he was supposed to fight Jamel Herring in his first fight at 135. Pulled out of that one. Now we hear he's in talks to fight Mickey Bey. So I'm like, I don't know what to think about Pedraza right now, man. He seems to be a head case, honestly. I mean, that's the vibe I get from him and his team. This is a solid fight on paper. It's a good confidence booster for whoever wins it, either or. It puts them in, I won't say necessarily prime position at 135, but it gets them some recognition at that weight class where they could be, you know, possibly in the top 10. You know, of course, Bey was a former world titleist at 135, and then his most recent loss was for a world title against Francis Barthélemy last year. So both of these guys are ex-world titleists. So, I mean, they're definitely capable of putting on a spectacular fight. So I like it on paper. I just don't know what to make of it because of, you know, what we've seen from Pedraza recently. You know, where it's his head at. So that's my biggest issue.
Let me interject real quick. And I just have a question for y'all. Do you think that loss and him getting rocked by Tank Davis may have fucking with his confidence? That's why he didn't want to fight Jamel Herring. That's why he's saying all this stuff. Like, you know, he's trying to get, from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing, to me, he's trying to get an easy win to get him back into the picture.
He wants it against the name. I mean, he wants the name, but he wants the easy picking. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on with him right now. To me, I think he just needs to stay busy, fight something to, you know, build confidence. It doesn't need to be against a name guy, especially coming off a knockout loss. So, I mean, just knock out the webs, you know what I'm saying? Get some activity in there, get used to the weight, 135, you know.
Yeah, I'm still here.
We still here. We just letting you go.
The answer. I mean, because you did ask that. I wanted to know if Bo had anything to
answer.
No.
Oh, okay. You got anything to say about that, Bo? My take on him being possibly like, yo, I'm trying to get some easy pickings, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing, so I'm just throwing all this shit and this and that.
Who is this?
Pedraza.
Man, let me tell you something, man. Pedraza get on my fucking nerves. This is a motherfucker that he does. He gets on my fucking nerves. This is a motherfucker that, like, between him and Ronus Monterosian, they kill me, man. They tell, you know, we tired of Al, but Al give you the opportunity, and you know you don't pass. or like Twan just said, you had this one fight, you pulled out, you had that one fight. So don't tell me you're tired of your promoter. If your promoter's trying to put you in a position and you either ain't got shit right on your end, and man, fuck out of here, man. I ain't trying to hear that shit, man. Same thing with Ronnie Monterosen. Al Heyman. You leave Al Heyman to go to Dawn King. Like, well, huh? Like, what? But,
you get title fight, you can't win.
That's what I'm right. Exactly. You had 3 title chances, and you can't win, and that's Al Heyman's fault.
It's Al Heyman's fault. Yep. Yes, Al. You didn't tell him to lose. You supposed to tell him to stand there and let me hit him so I can win on point.
Yeah. And then look at this too. Pedraza, Tank Davis has already fought one since Pedraza. Pedraza ain't fought none since losing the Tank, and that ain't got nothing to do with your promoting. You ain't talking to people. You ain't, you know what I'm saying? It's like, dog, what are you doing? Are you telling Al, listen, man, I want to fight? Because if Robert Guerrero was getting fights, you know what I'm saying? He obviously fucking fighting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, you got him, Aaron Martinez. You got certain dudes that's obviously fucking fighting. So, I mean, you're a former champion. I'm quite sure if you went to Al and said something, hey, man, look, man, I want to fight. Or went to your manager or went to your promoter and said, hey, man, look, I want to fight. Okay, sometimes, like, what kills me, these guys blame Al, but it ain't just Al. Talk to your fucking promoter. Because your promoter don't have to go through just Al. Your promoter can say, you know what, all right, man, I'm going to reach out to so-and-so. I'm going to see what I can get you. You know? So, I mean, we all know Al is the head honcho. I get it.
You know, he's trained by, Pedraza is trained by his father. He also happens to be his manager and, you know, part of these negotiations that goes on. So a lot of the stuff that comes out in the media about them being disgruntled, you know, sometimes it comes from him. You know, so, you know, these fights are being offered to him against quality guys at 135 for his comeback fight, and he's not taking them. So, I mean, I'm not sure if it's the dad that's the real diva or Jose, but, I mean, he looks like a straight-up head case, man, and it's not a good look. You know, I don't know what it was about that made him pull out the Herring fight. You know, they both were actually coming off losses at the time, Herring losing to Shafikov, and, you know, of course, Pedraza losing the Tank. So I thought that would have been a good step-up fight to 135, you know, against a solid guy in the weight class, a prospect. Mickey Bey, this is also a good matchup just because he's, like I said, he's one fight removed from being a titleist. So, I mean, it's a good fight either way, but you just don't know if Pedraza's even going to take these fights down. That's what it's starting to come to for me. Like, is he going to fucking sign the contract? Is he going to go through with it, you know? So we'll keep our eye on that situation. But we'll go into the next topic. Bernard actually wanted to chime on this one, so I'm going to go into him first, you know, after introducing it, of course. Of course, we had Terry Flanagan versus Felix Verdejo was ordered by the WBO, and they came to an agreement for their fight. Now, this week, the fight's been postponed due to an injury from Terry Flanagan. So I'll go ahead and let Bernard kick it off with Bernard. I know he has something to say about this fight. Seriously, I'm not sure if he knew if it was postponed or not prior to that, but I'll go ahead and let him go.
Well, I didn't know what it was postponed. It just kind of weird at the same time. Well, that as soon as Linares got his opponent, Terry Flanagan is injured. That leaves Felix Verdejo open. I'm not saying Felix Verdejo that could beat Linares, but that'd be a good step up fight for Verdejo. And that'd be a good fight for Linares. That's a name, because Felix is, and that would be good. Even if anything, if they could have they could have had that fight.
It would be too much for Verdejo right now to put him against Linares. Linares is obviously the class of 135 right now. To put a guy that's still unproven and has a lot of questions against him, like I don't think that the Linares would have been a good choice. defeat Verdejo, his first title shot. Flanagan was actually the right opponent. He's considered the weak link, other than Croya, who lost.
Right.
He was considered the other weak link at that weight class.
Okay.
Go ahead and finish your point, Bernard.
Oh yeah, I was basically saying it would have been a good step up fight to see. Unproven. You have a lot of questions. Let's see him go against a vet like Linares. I'm not saying he would have beat him. You know what I'm saying? Anything could happen in boxing. But I would have definitely had Linares and highly favored Linares to win this fight by decision. But I definitely want to see after this, with Terry Flanagan being injured, what is Felix going to do? Is he going to get some kind of step up in competition in 135? You have to understand, Verdejo is signed by who? Bob Arum and Top Rank. So is Arum going to continue to maybe protect him in a way by throwing him and giving him these fights, these easy fights, to the point that, hey, I'll build Felix up for the Puerto Rican community and have him fighting out of Madison Square Garden doing the Puerto Rican Day Parade or the Puerto Rican Day Weekend. If that's what he's going to do, I can see Arum doing that. But I definitely agree with you on Twine that he is improving and we have a lot of questions. I definitely want to see his step in competition, but is Arum going to do that? He had it with Flanagan. But
I'll let Bo go in on this one before I add my 2 cents. Bo, what are your thoughts about the postponement of this fight? Because there's some rumors out there. I know Verdejo's team wants to see proof of Flanagan's injury. They think he pulled out because of the money right now. Is something that I've been seeing going around. Let me get your thoughts on these things, Bo, and just the postponement in general.
It ain't just Verdejo's team that think that the WBO also thinks that. Also, the WBO has said that he put in a claim to say he was injured, but he didn't send the documents from the doctor to say what leg it was, what type of injury, none of that. So they gave him a time frame to send that correct stuff over to them. So, and also I'm with Verdejo on the team. I think Flanagan didn't like the money, and here's another example of the business side. I'm about to fight Verdejo. There's a possibility I could lose. If I lose, I'm not going to get another shot at 135 at the title because these motherfuckers holding titles, goddammit, I can't beat another. So pay me to take this risk. And that's really what it, in my opinion, what it's boiling down to is, he probably don't like the money. And the WBO, along with Flanagan team, is like, look, man, we need to see proof, dog, that that this is what you're really telling us. But as we all know, when you bite the hand that feeds you in Bob Arum's, you can mess around, Jack, and find yourself not only down and out, but out the fucking door. So if Flanagan does lose to Verdejo, shit, look for Flanagan to bounce off the WBO list. If this is really the case. So,
you're right, because WBO and Top Rank is a mob family that works together.
Man, dog, they the mob. But and then now the thing is, I understand if Flanagan is doing it for money, because this just kind of came out of nowhere. And remember, there was a lot of names that was targeting Flanagan. I remember Jorge Linares was targeting Flanagan. Mikey Garcia was targeting a lot of names. Now, Felix Verdejo, I'll be honest with you, he has not looked impressive since his return. He actually has looked worse. Shit. I think he looks like he wasn't that. I wasn't that impressed with him to begin with, but he actually looked worse when he came back.
I don't think he's looked good since Ivan Bam Bam Nara fight, honestly.
Exactly. So, but if I get what Flanagan is saying, because if Flanagan loses, you got Robert Easton Jr., you got Jorge Linares, you got Mikey Garcia. He ain't beat none of them motherfuckers, so he ain't getting his title back. He ain't getting another title shot. He don't. He's just gonna be wind up being. As a matter of fact, I don't think he can beat fucking Beltran, because Beltran is back on the scene. So it's gonna be a hard road for him. So I get it if you want to ask for more money, but at the same time, motherfucker has been knocking at your door. Your numbers, you know what I'm saying? Like, motherfuckers answering the bell, knocking at your door. You're a champion. I get it. I really do get it. But you can't sit back and do nothing while everybody else around you is making moves. Robert Eason Jr. just fought Shaka Cub. Jorge Linares is about to fight his mandatory in Luke Campbell. And Mikey Garcia is busy. When cats around you making moves, motherfucker, you got to make a move too. So you might not like that money, but you got to make a move. And right now, I don't see you getting more money fighting nobody else if it isn't Verdejo. But this is what happens when you sign with the devil, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting about this whole thing with the injury and that they didn't file the proper paperwork for the exemption or to get the exclusion from the WBC or WBO. So, I mean, I kind of want to wait for that to make too much of a judgment. But I do agree. They're definitely seeing something funny here as far as this being pulling out, so fast after the announcement. Because, that fight was just announced last week. Even though Verdejo's been a mandatory forever, this fight was just announced. Like, they finally came to an agreement recently, after being close to having to go to a purse bid for it. Honestly, that would have been his best bet if he wasn't happy with the money. So I can go to purse bid, take that, the champion normally gets the higher percentage. I'm not sure what the split is with the WBO. I doubt it's outrageous like the IBF shit. But generally, the champion gets the higher split in the purse bid. So I think that's the route they should have took. Frank Warren, his promoter, didn't do him any service, if the money is the real issue behind this. I also think it's a dangerous move by Flanagan because you got to remember Felix Verdejo finally did what we've all wanted him to do the past couple of years and switch trainers. I'm not necessarily saying Abel Sanchez is going to make him, bring anything to him, but, he's a very credible name, and Verdejo has needed to adapt. We said he's needed to leave his amateur trainers for quite some time in Puerto Rico. So he's training in Big Bear with Abel Sanchez now, and I think that's, the more time he gets with Abel Sanchez, of course, he's going to get more acclimated, and it's more it presents a more dangerous style for Flanagan, giving him more time, with this camp. So it's definitely a tricky thing. Flanagan is definitely in a weird position, man. I don't think it's a position where he wouldn't take the fight because, like Bo was saying, Verdejo hasn't necessarily looked that impressive, and, he hasn't even had a camp under Abel Sanchez. So you can't really put too much on that until after a couple camps anyway. So, I mean, Flanagan definitely has a good shot at this fight. It's a definitely winnable fight. We've been waiting for Verdejo to step it up for quite some time, after not looking impressive in his last couple of fights. So, it's still a good fight. We haven't heard anything about potential makeup dates for it yet. So we'll keep our eye out on it and keep you guys up to date on it as well. You guys got anything you want to add on to this one?
Nope. I don't know.
That's good, man. Me neither. I'm good.
Okay. So next we got we've already talked about one of these fights as far as Jarrell Hurd and Hurd-Trout being in the works for their him defending the IBF 154 title fight. But this one kind of caught us off guard. We didn't expect it to get made so soon. It's looking like Jermall Charlo and Lubin are in talks to fight on the same card as Jarrell Hurd and Hurd-Trout September 30th. He'll be defending his WBC title as Lubin is his mandatory defense. Man, I got to give it to Jermall. He's made two quick mandatory defenses of his title. Against Hadley, and now this one against Lubin, the young up and coming, the Hammer. Man. Let me get you guys' thoughts on this fight, man. I have some concerns myself, so I'll go ahead and let Bo start off with this one. If this fight is actually signed, what's your thoughts on this one? about Jermall and Erickson Lubin.
Hey, man, I like it. They're two young dogs, undefeated, going at it. I definitely like it. This is Erickson Lubin, I think, should have been in the position that Jerry Hurd is in, to be honest with you. Okay? And this is, in my opinion, this is going to be Jermall Charlo's toughest fight. Erickson Lubin, exceptionally athletic. Erickson Lubin, very good hard puncher. He's a southpaw. He can match Charlo almost in every way. He can match him in hand speed. He can probably match him in power, athleticism. I think where Charlo has it is, he's starting to find his groove, and he's starting really to find that meanness in him that his brother has. He's finding it under Derek James. He looked, good against Charles Hatley, but of course it was Charles Hatley. But the fact that he still looked the way he looked, I mean, I get it. Yeah, it's Charles Hatley. Okay, we can't downplay that. Okay, it was Charles Hatley. But if you look at how he knocked him out with the step over, and then the punches he was throwing, it's like, man, he wasn't throwing that before. So I think Derek James has done a better job of being able to connect with Charlo to bring that out of him. So I like this fight. Erickson Lubin, young cat, on his way up in the rise, fought his way into the mandatory position. And I give credit where credit is due. They're not trying to not fight this mandatory. This is a fight that even if he wasn't mandatory, I still would want to see, because it's a 50-50 fight. It's a pick-em fight in my opinion. Now, of course, I'm picking. I'm gonna go with Charlo because I just think from an overall level with the corner and the experience and the guys. Because remember one thing, Charlo got that Lubin don't get. Charlo got a sparring partner that he can fight with by the name of Errol fucking Spence. And you spar with Errol Spence, I'm quite sure he can get in there, and he can probably, from what he got with Errol Spence, he can get in there and be like, all right, figure some things out on what to do with Lubin. So that's another nice little fun factor there for him. But I like this fight, man. Two young cats doing things at 154, because what do we talk about how stacked 154 is? And we need to see guys doing something. And he's stepping it up because now his brother's not in there no more. So now he can kind of step it up. And he's doing it, which is why I'm going to say again, Edina Lara, get your motherfucking ass moving. These dudes is making moves. You need to make a move. Okay, you went after Gerald Hurd, but Gerald Hurd was like, no, we ain't trying to have that right now. But Gerald Hurd ain't picking no punk fight in Hurd-Trout either. So, I don't need to see no Yuri motherfucking Formers, nigga. I don't need to see that. You need to get your ass moving. I'm sorry.
Fight, boo-boo.
You said bitch number one, Demetrius Andrade, bitch number two, Gerald Hurd. Okay, well, bitch number two said he wasn't going to fight you.
No, actually,
so now you need to fight Gerald Hurd.
We got to change it up. It was bitch number one was Hurd. He made sure bitch number two was Andrade.
Right, my man, you're absolutely right. So bitch number one was like, no, nigga, I got other business. Bitch number two is free. He's free. And you need to fight him. And I'm going to say this right here, right now on this program, like I say on any program. If Edina Lara fights anybody other than fucking Boo-Boo Andrade, I'm going to dog his ass. I'm a Adonis Stevens this motherfucker. I'm going to dog you every chance I get.
Oh, he's babysitting that IBO belt.
Yes, you are. I'm a dog his ass. Why? Because I said this is when motherfuckers is making move around you, and you ain't doing nothing to make any kind of move. There's no reason why you can't fight Boo Boo. There's just no reason why you can't fight him now. I see absolutely. That's the best fight for you to make right now. There's no reason why. So if you don't fight Demetrius Andrade, I'm a Adonis Stevens because Edina Lara is another one of them dudes. He ain't done nothing since 2014 either. He ain't done nothing in 3 years. So, okay, you tried to go for Hurd. Hurd him like, no, man. But Hurd them at least picked a tough opponent in Hurd-Trout. Like, you can't be like, damn, that's a fight he could possibly lose. Because Hurd-Trout ain't never been nobody's bitch. And then, of course, you got Lubin fighting Charlo. So you got to get moving. But I like this fight. Anytime you have two, and this is actually a fight. People talk about PBC. This is a fight that if it was top ranked, it'd get dragged out because these are two young dogs. Okay, this could be a fight you can make a year from now or 2 years from now as rising stars and put them together and make better money, right? But no, they putting them together right now, and he's a Mando that they ain't paying step aside to. They say, hey man, look, we're gonna make this happen. I love it, man. I love anytime you get two young lions, I love it. Who's the big dogs in the yard? I love it. And if Lubin wins, I could see a rematch. Like if he wins by decision and it's a competitive fight, people might want to see the rematch. And then we had that rematch, and we had that rematch, so we could have some nice fights at 154. It's time for 154 to get popping, man. Real talk. All them guys got the same. All them guys under the same banner, man. It's time for 154 to get popping.
And we've already seen them make a move towards that, man. I mean, we had J-Rock and other twin Charlo last year, and we've been seeing other steps towards them, coming together. This year, I mean, the WBA needs to do their damn job though right now and order that fight. They ordering every damn thing else. Order the fight that everybody wants to see at 154, man. I mean, it's there for you. And, but we'll go into that in another topic as far as these consolidations and shit. Bernard, do you have anything you wanted to add to that one? Because Bo kind of went in on that one.
He did. He did. I think this fight is a 50-50 fight. You know what? It's kind of now we're looking at this. I was hoping Lubin take on some contenders before it's going in against Jermall. But, hey, I salute him for doing it. But here's my thing, though, right? And I'm kind of concerned. Could this end with the way Jermall Charlo has stepped up his game in terms of that mean streak? Could this turn into just like what Jermall did to J-Rock? That, you know what I'm saying? We all say, oh, it was a 50-50 fight. We don't know who can win. Two alpha males. But the real alpha male that we know who the whole time was, per 2K, was Jermall. And Jermall showed up, did what he was supposed to do, caught him with the uppercut, laid him down. The question is, can we be seeing a repeat of that? And I want to give credit on, say something with the Hurd and Trout fight, as well as the Charlo and Lubin fight. With that being on the same card, I'm noticing with TBC, this is the second card that they have thrown the top welterweights on the same card. I think it's a smart move in PBC by doing that. And I will say this: there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of contenders, a lot of stars. Not to say stars, but a lot of good fighters in that division. I want to see fight the winners, even the losers, because even if whoever loses, I wouldn't mind seeing a Trout versus a J-Rock, or Hurd versus a J-Rock, Jermall versus Charlo versus J-Rock, or Lubin versus J-Rock. All potential. Heck, Lubin versus Hurd. All the young guns that can go against each other, man. It's a lot of potential fights in that 154 division, and I do agree. Lara has to fight Boo Boo. Ain't no, even though Boo Boo got his little business, there's no excuse. WBA, stop bullshitting. Y'all want to order all these fights? With Twine on this, order that fight between Lara and Boo Boo. And I'll be the first one to say this. I hope the IBO strips Lara of his drugs. He doesn't fight.
IBO can strip him. Nobody care about that guy.
Hey man, shout out to the IBO.
Nobody care about that guy. Go ahead and strip him. Throw that shit in the trash like Riddick Bowe. But no, man. I mean, you guys see this as a 50-50 fight. I'm gonna disagree. Of course, Charlo, the more experienced guy. I'm not gonna put anything against Lubin. Of course, he's been prospect of the year already. Highly talented. I mean, we see he's one of those guys that I wouldn't put him up there with like the, when you say the eye test, he's like Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. He's right under that to me. I've also said before that I think Jermall is actually going to end up being the better Charlo by the time he gets a couple of camps in with Derrick James. Just because of the diversity in styles, man. I think it was actually Jermall that should have been with Derrick James just because he was the power puncher. So it was surprising when it was actually Jermall that went to Derrick James, but stylistically, man, if he once he puts it together mentally and he's thinking it, I think he's unstoppable, man. He's going to be the better Charlo just because of the diversity of attacks. He learned how to box excellently from outside with Ronnie Shields, which is what he was known for, primarily prior to this making the switch. So, I think going in against a guy like Charlo-Lubin, he has the mental, the intangibles over the inexperienced Lubin right now. I don't know how he could take Lubin's power yet. We've never really seen Charlo hurt. Have we seen him go down? I think he might have went down against Martirosyan. I'm not sure. I think
that was Boo-Boo. That was Boo-Boo.
Okay. So Charlo's never been down. He got hit with some solid shots in the Hatley fight, leaving himself open. Of course, when you're more aggressive, you're going to leave yourself open. So, Charlo-Lubin does call himself the Hammer. Pretty high knockout ratio, power in both hands. Charlo could be open for something. So, seeing how he handles that Lubinson's power. But I think, I just think that mentally, Charlo has us right now. He's going to be able to use his experience to outwit the guy. One of my concerns about them taking this fight is that it's too soon. Lubin hasn't been in there against anybody with that kind of experience or had a real step-up fight, in my opinion, at 154 to go against a guy like Charlo. And you don't want to ruin a young fighter, taking an L, depending on how he loses. Bernard mentioned that actually. We've seen other fighters, David Reed, of course he had won a belt already before, but, pushing these guys too fast and taking the wrong kind of loss could really derail them and hurt them in the long run. So that's my concern. Is it going to be something like that? Is he going to take that kind of a loss? If it's a close competitive fight, it's only going to make him better, so nothing's wrong with that. But, if it's a complete one-sided druggery or something where he's knocked out or it looks very bad, you don't want to damage a young fighter. So, we'll wait and see for this actual announcement. But, I agree with Bernard as well as far as them putting these 154 fighters on the same cards. We could actually see some potential unifications, the winner of Hurd versus Trout going against the winner of Charlo versus Lubin or something like that. So this is a perfect setup card if they were going to do something like that, But I guess we go into our next topic, man. You guys got anything you want to add in? We went in and talked about Andrade on that as well, so I'm glad we got some mention of him and Erislandy Lara. We talked about a lot of that division up in the Rising Division 154. A lot of talent there.
Well, like I said, I think I spoke on it earlier about how Heyman is really showcasing that division. I've noticed that he's really just, I'm just going to throw a card. That's going 154 pounders on there. So I think it's a deep division. It's a division that we could see a lot of, that we'll probably be seeing, we'll still be watching in the future because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a couple welterweight.
Yeah, the 147 guys are definitely going to go up there eventually. Go
up there eventually, yeah. So, that's something I say anybody y'all need to look into. So, yeah.
All right, we're going to go into our next topic, man. I thought this was a pretty interesting one. It's probably not one of the bigger highlights or pieces of news, but, I find it pretty interesting considering, some of the stuff that's going on with their promotional banner recently. It looks like Curtis Stevens parted ways with Kathy Duba Main Event Promotions over the past week. I mean, the reason why I thought it was interesting just because of what kind of implications it has on the rest of their small roster as it is. And, you know, we had the whole Kovalev contract debacle. So, I mean, what do you guys make of this move? And what do you guys see from main events and Curtis Stevens moving forward from their roster in general? Like, is this going to have an impact on them?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to have an impact on them. The impact I'm really kind of concerned about, and I think I've stated this in, I want to say in Eastwick, there was an article that Sergey Kovalev's first opponent back may be Sullivan Barrera. That's more of a concern I would rather speak on. I don't know if you want me to speak on that, but I'll stay on topic. I digress. Keep that on the side, though.
You can throw that in there after. I mean, as long as you address the topic, and if you want to throw that in as a sidebar, go ahead, man.
Okay.
I'm interested in hearing.
I mean, Curtis Stevenson got knocked out by David Lemieux, put to sleep, carried out on the stretcher. I mean, that's not really care to do with fault. She just got you to fight against a Golden Boy fighter, David Lemieux. You talked all that, y'all talked all that stuff. We knew it was going to be a straight slugfest, and sure it wasn't going to last long, and sure enough, David Lemieux won. Credit that you are okay from the knockout. But at this point in time, can Curtis Stevenson in his career make an impact? At this point, he's a journeyman. He doesn't, 2K could break, he's a C-level fighter at best. He has no upside in terms of being with Cassie or even his career at this point in time. All he's going to do is win the regional or underbelt if he stays fighting. And then he's going to be a journeyman a journeyman for other fighters up and coming to test their skills against him. Watch. He's so one-dimensional. He goes in there to slug. Now, I'm going to piggyback on what I just spoke a little about earlier, that the Kathy Duva and Sergey Kovalev and Barrera. Apparently, she wants to have Kovalev fight Barrera in his first fight back. I guess you see it's a cash cow thing. Let's be honest. Kovalev is her cash cow. Sullivan Barrera is coming up. He's making, I don't want to say he's coming up, he's came back since that loss against Andre Ward. And he's making a name for himself in the lightweight division. This is kind of a fight. If the fight does happen, I would definitely want to see what's going to happen from this point, because is Kovalev broken by Andre Ward? This is the reason why I say this. Virgil Hunter has said this himself. Anybody that has fought Andre Ward has never been the same after being knocked out by him. And the first example is Chad Dawson. He hasn't been the same since he fought Andre Ward. We ain't talking about Andre Ward. He hasn't been the same, because eventually he got knocked out in his next fight, and since then went on, his career went downhill from there. I don't think Sullivan Barrera is a good fight for Kovalev to come back to get his confidence in with the way Barrera has been on his hot streak. I would kind of hold that fight off as long as he possibly could. But if you do think that Kovalev is nothing left in Kovalev's tank, I'm thinking Kathy Duva, and you want to throw him in there with Sullivan Barrera, it can come out two ways. Kovalev will have something to prove, just as Barrera, because, hey, Barrera wants his get back against Ward, and I salute him for that. Mm-hmm. But Kovalev has made all these excuses. So if she's kind of tired, like, you know what, I'm tired of your excuses, I'm tired of this and that. You know, even though she's part of it, she's got to think about, hey, this is her business. This is her promotion company, Main Event. My cash fighter just lost. I'm looking at Sullivan Barrera. Okay, he lost against Ward, too. He got knocked down, but it was a flash knockdown. And since then, he's been on the road. He got rid of his trainer, started working down in Miami, in Florida, and look what happened. He's totally improved. He broke Joe Smith's jaw. He's doing all these things. and making an impact. Now, it's like, Kovalev on the downhill. He's old. How old is Kovalev? Like 34, right? 33, 34?
Yeah, 34.
Yeah, he's not that disciplined. This and that. There's a lot of things we heard about Kovalev and how he handled camp and this and that. He's not making choices. Okay. Then you look at Sullivan Barrera. How old is Sullivan? Like, what, 27, 28?
Nah, Sullivan up there, too. He's like 32.
Yeah,
32. So she's looking like, okay. She's probably looking like, this guy here, one is on the downside, you know what I'm saying? He's even thought about going to cruiserweight. And this one here wants to make a name for himself. Okay. She may be throwing Kovalev to the wolves. But it could be backfired, too. I don't want to see the fight. I want to see the fight, but I don't want to see the fight. Let Kovalev get a tune-up and get a couple other fights, like, you know what I'm saying, and his and then let's see where it goes from there.
All right, let me go ahead and pass it on to Bo. Man, what does this mean for Curtis Stevens? What does this mean for main event's roster? Because, I mean, you know, you got him. He's one of their higher profile signings leaving. Then you got Kovalev, who just pretty much fought in one of the biggest fights of the year and essentially for free. I mean, what does this mean for the roster, the future main events? If you're a boxer looking at this, if you're a fighter on their roster seeing these things happen, I mean, what are you thinking? That's what I really want to get from you guys on this one. Bo, let me get your thoughts on that, man.
What am I thinking? I'm thinking, why am I doing this to myself? That's what I'm thinking. Why the fuck am I doing this to myself? Okay, Willie Monroe isn't a great asset to lose. Notice she ain't even made a statement about it and nothing like that. So, and it also makes me look at it like, you know, since she hasn't made a statement about it, it kind of makes me feel like, okay, she probably didn't value him that much in the first goddamn place.
Yeah, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? She probably didn't, probably like, okay, you ain't nothing but, what do you think you are? So she probably didn't value Willie Monroe in the first place. So we have to take that into consideration. But moving forward for Willie Monroe, I'll be honest with you. Go ahead.
No, Curtis Stevens, that's who we were talking
about. Curtis Stevens. But moving forward with Curtis Stevens, I'll be honest with you, man. Like you said, he got knocked the fuck out by David Lemieux. I was never impressed with him. I knew he'd get knocked out in this fight. He's not, somebody that if I have a stable, I'm looking to make man investment in, especially when I have a limited stable like she do. She just had her main showcase fighter take a L in Sergey Kovalev, right? So with all that being said, because really, and if we're saying that Kovalev is her main cash cow, that can also be questioned too, because they have not been doing so motherfucking well. All right? I mean, if we keeping it 100 here, they have not been doing so motherfucking well, right?
Where was the cash at?
Yeah, right. Where was the cash at? So there's a lot, man, that you look at here, and you just have to really ask yourself, what the fuck is really going on? And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, what the fuck is really going on? Because I'll say this again, man. Anytime you have a promoter that right after your fight, all right, you find out, number one, your check is going to count, is going to be dependent upon what happens in the pay-per-view numbers when we know that, man, this shit ain't finna sell like that. Okay? So you have that happen, then you turn around and you take into consideration that I just took a loss. So I'm not a top seller or a big seller. How do I make money off this guy now? See, so there's a lot of things, man. She got to ask herself. And if losing Curtis Stevens don't hurt, but it don't help either. I mean, yeah, okay. Does it hurt her? No. Does it help her? No. It doesn't even help her either losing fucking Curtis Stevens. So, man, if I had to make a guess, then I'm just gonna go with I'm not gonna say it's bad for her, but it's not inspiring that you are still losing fighters at a struggling rate like this. And that's all I can say. Okay, I mean, do I feel sympathy for her? Fuck no. Fuck no. After all the shit that y'all talked about Andre Ward and all that shit, oh no, fuck no. I don't have no sympathy for your ass. I don't. Now, I wouldn't want this on my worst enemy either, but I'm not finna sit here and make it seem like I got sympathy. I ain't got no sympathy for you because you knew what you knew what you was getting into. All right? I don't want to see her go under because everybody should be able to make money. But at the same time, it's like you're not doing anything. Like, if think about this. Are we really shocked that he's leaving because he might have just sat there and saw that shit that happened to Coppola and said, man, that shit ain't gonna happen to me. I ain't getting paid that much any motherfucking way.
Nope.
So it's definitely not inspiring.
I definitely think this is I think it actually hurts main events, man. When you look at their landscape specifically, they do everything on HBO. So this is one less person they could actually have or market in a fight on HBO. Losing Curtis Stevens, who has a name for a fighting guy like Gennady Golovkin. He's trained by John David Jackson. He's fought a list of who's who at 160, so he's well known, even though he's somewhat of a journeyman, like Bernard was saying, but he's still a name that you could throw out there on the card, and people will be like, okay, I'll tune in, just to see if he got something left. You got to think who he lost to. This is David Lemieux, motherfucking KO artist. So I'm like, there's nothing bad in losing. He was, I thought he had lost his fight prior to that, in the gift. He got a gift in that fight. So, I mean, I agree with some of the sentiments as far as he's never really been that much, never thought much of him, and it hasn't panned out. But I think it hurts because, if you come to HBO now, wanting to put a card together, that's one less name that you could deal with. I mean, you look at their roster right now, you got Kovalev, Shabransky, Barrera, and those are like their main names, man. And of course you got what's his name, Devin Alexander's brother, who's also under her stable right now. But outside of that, there's like really no bankable names or anybody that you know. There's pretty much a lot of guys still building up their name. She has what we would be considering, I guess, ESPN fighters right now, on the verge of breaking out. She's had some talented names on her roster. She doesn't have that Bob Arum magic of being able to build fighters, even though she's signed some pretty good ones. She just doesn't know how to build them all the time. I think Barrera and Shabransky are anomalies because of the division they were in at the time, and we're seeing the 175 division actually starting to do some other things right now. I think that's one of the reasons we're hearing her talking about making a Barrera versus a Kovalev match. I think that's her way of doing the in-house shit. I don't think.
Can we be honest now, man? Can we be honest, dog? What's the only reason why Kathy Duva is even a mention in boxing, man? Let's just be honest, man.
Her father.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but honestly, I think that's the route she's trying to do with this Kovalev-Barrera match, is just trying to do something in-house, because it's definitely not the most viable decision for Barrera, who just won his WBC silver title off of Joe Smith. You know, that's not in his best interest to fight a Kovalev when, you know, he's trying to fight for the actual WBC belt against Adonis Stevenson. So going against a Kovalev, nah, I definitely don't think that's in his best interest, but that's Duva trying to control the in-house thing and, you know, keep the other WBC tournament stuff from happening. You know, I think I mentioned it on one of our previous shows. Sean Manahan versus Marcus Brown was an eliminator, and Sullivan Barrera versus Joe Smith was one of the other eliminators, and I think Gavacic is fighting in one of the eliminators as well, coming up on ESPN. So I think that's just her trying to throw a monkey wrench in that and be in control of some, you know, have some say-so over what goes on. So I don't really expect that to even really be a viable option come later this year. I don't think Barrera's team would take that fight knowing they have a potential fight against Adonis Stevenson coming. So, or a fight that they could lobby for.
You still got to remember that Adonis Stevenson fight isn't guaranteed only because of this. If Adonis didn't want that fight to take place in Canada, Barrera's visa don't allow him to go to Canada.
Okay, I got you. Okay. So it's interesting right there. And yeah, there's definitely some money from I think I could definitely see some money from HBO for Barrera and Kovalev fight on actual HBO. I mean, it wouldn't be a pay-per-view, so I could actually see them spending and Barrera getting a nice payday for that one. I just don't know what it does for his actual title hopes. That's why I would be against it if I was his team personally. But we'll see how it pans out, man. Let me see. Anything else you guys want to add on as far as I didn't really say what happens to Curtis Stevens. I think Benora had hit it on the nail. He's just going to continue to be a journeyman gatekeeper right now. I mean, know what promoters are actually going to be jumping towards him. Honestly, that's what I'm more concerned about. Like, I don't know who's going to be actually jumping to bring him in, you know.
Right, you're not going to hear. Yeah, he had his. I hate to say what do you see? Do I see him? I hate to say it, being signed by Heyman and having him go against fighters on 160 pounds, being a stepping stone to see if they could go against him. I mean, Heyman could do that. I hate to say it. I mean, he may go to Golden Boy. You know what I'm saying? Hey, let's be honest. Curtis Stevenson is when I make this statement, is a name that we have heard. We know he likes to slug. He's a slugger. Something the character says, okay, if I know I see him in this fight, it's gonna be it's gonna be some fisticuffs. So he may get signed by possibly I go to boy and say, hey, yeah, Curtis Stevenson gonna be on the card. Oh, I know Curtis Stevenson loves. He goes in there, doesn't matter, to knock cats out. So
yeah, he's definitely a good fighter to have on these ESPN cards and shit like that right now. So, I mean, if Top Rank or Golden Boy picked him up, he'd definitely be a solid addition just for those kind of television fights. I don't know what kind of big value he brings right now. But it was there. You know, I think he could have done some HBO stuff still, considering he lost to a big name like David Lemieux, who's ultimately one of the better middleweights, you know, right now in the division. So, I mean, I don't think that's anything necessarily wrong with that loss. You know, it probably was getting knocked the fuck out the way he did, but outside of that, you know, it was David Lemieux. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and go into our next topic. We got a couple of good ones coming up, man. William Monroe versus Billy Joe Saunders for the WBO middleweight title. I'm actually surprised at Billy Ho. This is a tough selected opponent for him, man, and we've gotten used to him.
Get the fuck out of here. No, you didn't just say that. Are you kidding me?
Man.
Willie Monroe?
That's a good ass selected fight for Saunders. I wouldn't expect him to pick Willie Monroe considering his previous track record. That's a good solid selection.
This is the same Billy Ho Saunders that they want to fight one of Willie Monroe's opponents and Gabe Rosado. So what that tell you? You know, now he wants to. You know, I'll speak on it on the fuckery of the award. I don't want to go too soon. So.
All right. Well, go ahead, Bo. Bo seems to be opposed to this matchup. I think it's a solid matchup considering Billy Ho hasn't necessarily wanted to be in there against top-notch competition while holding on to the belt the last year. You know, he had his mandatory get canceled against Kurtzitzi, and this is actually a voluntary defense for him, I believe. So for him to be taking on Monroe as a voluntary defense, this is a pretty good. I think this is a good fight for him. Go ahead, Bo.
No, it ain't a good fight for him when you got a guy by the name of Daniel Jacobs that was calling your motherfucking name, and then you go and fight Willie Monroe, who's not known as a dude to be dangerous to the point where he'll knock you out or something like that. I don't even know if he can outwork this guy. Okay, but this is definitely if you want to say, given his other recent opponents, this is a step up. Okay, I will try to entertain that, even though it still sounds kind of ludicrous to me. But the bottom line is, you could have been fighting motherfucking Daniel fucking Jacobs, and that would have impressed us. No, you didn't. Per se, she stepped out. We understand that. All right? But instead of a guy is calling your fucking name, a guy is pretty much pulling your fucking whole card, and you give me Willie motherfucking Monroe. Not to take nothing away from him, but Willie Monroe ain't dangerous. Willie Monroe ain't no. I mean, what's the fucking odds on Willie Monroe beating him, knocking him out, opposing the threat? You know, I don't see it at all. Period. Now, Daniel Jacobs poses a threat. Daniel Jacobs fucking dangerous. Daniel Jacobs also coming off of a loss. So why the fuck are you looking at Willie motherfucking Monroe? I have no idea, but I mean. Yeah, it's better than his previous opponents. That I will definitely give you. But I'm still just not happy with it because this is not what we need to be seeing out of him. And if you telling me Willie Monroe is a step up for him, then why the fuck is he a WBO goddamn champion then? WBO champion. You shouldn't be having step up fights as a fucking champion. You should be having championship type quality fights. So
I mean, skill for skill, Willie Monroe is better than Chris U.O.E.N.O Jr. That's just my honest opinion. Willie Monroe can fight his ass off. He ain't got no power, but that motherfucker can box his ass off. Like, yeah, I can't take that away.
But there's no threat to him, though. That's my only thing is that there's no threat.
Not to knock him out, but he can certainly outbox Billy Joe Saunders. Like, he's capable. This is certainly a fight he's capable of outboxing Billy Joe Saunders in. So that's why I say it's definitely a good fight. I don't think he poses a threat as far as knocking him down, but that's not Willie Monroe's game. You know, we know he's kind of on the feather-fisted side, but he can box his ass off. Bernard, you haven't really said anything. You said you wanted to say it for the fuckery of the week, or did you have anything you wanted to chime in while we were chopping it up on it?
I'll speak on Willie Monroe. He quit against Golovkin. Well, I mean, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, he did quit. He made the right choice because it was either that or he was to continue to get it knocked out because Golovkin was taking your punches, and it didn't really matter because he really was like, hey, you can't hurt me. So he made the right choice in that because well, you know what? Let me say this. I just say that it's gonna sound kind of fluky when I say that. But maybe he should have went out on his shield to as much to the point like, you know what, or told his corner, throw the towel in. Now, I digress on that part, but Willie Monroe is a good fighter. I will hope that wherever this fight is at, most likely going to be in the UK, that Willie could pull off the upset and take that WBO belt off of Billy Ho and just give it to him because I'm pretty sure once Willie would do that, he'll be a fighting champion, unlike Saunders. Now, I don't think Monroe is going to face the winner of if Golovkin wins against Canelo in September, I don't think Monroe's going to take that route. I don't think he'll just fight WBO opponents. Most likely, who's the next one in line? Maybe whoever the WBO is. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see.
I'm just like, this is actually a good fight on paper to me. I like this fight. Considering Billy Ho's track record previously, in recent, I guess since holding the belt, this is probably his best fight. You know what I'm saying? That could have been there other than Kershizi, which was his mandatory. It's looking like as far as other people on that WBO ranking list, David Lemieux was up there. So I'm not sure if that was one of the possibilities. Willie Monroe is actually ranked ahead of Daniel Jacobs by the WBO. So, I mean, if you're going according to the system, I mean, Willie Monroe is ranked higher, and this ain't necessarily, I don't think this is a mandatory defense. I'm not sure. I'm going to double check on that one. I think this is just a voluntary defense. So, like I said, this is a solid voluntary defense for Billy Joe, considering his last couple of fights.
Surprisingly, it's voluntary. Because if that was the case, he would not be defending that belt. He'll be fighting once a year like he did, and he'll be waiting like what he fought at the end of last year in December. Yeah, he'll probably he was trying to pull that shit again. Look, he was trying to pull that shit again after Kershizi had that caught up and got indicted. He was like, "Thank you, God." Okay. Then he said, "You know what? I gotta fight somebody because Canelo and Golovkin. I want to make myself look good so I could get the winner of Triple G and Canelo." Yeah, okay. You talked all that shit, and you was sitting all the way in the back of the press conference by the door. Yeah, pussy.
All right, so we're gonna go into our next one. And shout out to our boy Chris Henderson, man. He actually was the first to mention this a while back, that there was even some talks going on, but this is the first that I've really seen it publicly put out there as far as a date for it. Looking like Badou Jack and Nathan Cleverly will be battling on August 26th. Badou Jack is vying to put himself in position. I guess they'll be fighting for what Cleverly's the WBO regular belt holder at 175 right now.
Yes, he is.
Okay, so he's trying to position himself to fight Andre Ward. Basically, that's what we're seeing from Badou Jack. He wants that money if it's there. Man, let me get you guys' initial thoughts on this fight. Badou's not wasting any time. At 175, he's going after a champion, although it's not a major belt. Let me get you guys' thoughts on this fight, starting off with Bo.
I actually like this fight. I can't say it's an easy fight. Because the thing about Nathan Cleverly is he's a high output type of fighter.
Yeah.
Badou Jack is more of a conservative fighter. He comes on later in the second half, but he's also a well conditioned guy. So I like this. He's leaving the division and going for another title. Can't be mad at him, and the title he's getting would make him he would be the regular champion. So he would be in line to fight Andre Ward if Andre Ward is looking for something that people would want to see. Because right now, and I say this, it's sad that nobody, that's a whole other topic, but it is sad that nobody is pushing or clamoring for Andre Ward to become undisputed at 175, and that's a whole other topic, a whole other reason why. But I personally would like to see it. I think he should. But, yeah, I like what Badou Jack is doing. He's going there, and he's like, look, I know I can make this fight with Nathan Cleverly, snatch this WBA belt. And who knows, maybe Cleverly with that WBA can possibly even challenge Adonis Stevenson. And, for some type of a unification, since they both have Al, and that could position, Adonis for something. So I like it. I think it's a good move. It's a fight that he can win because although Cleverly is a guy who puts out a lot of high output, Badou Jack is probably the harder puncher of the two. That's one thing he is. He is a hard puncher. So I definitely like it. 175 is cracking. And, I mean, you can't be mad at this.
All right, Bernard?
I like the fight. But like I said, like Bo just I'm gonna piggyback on Bo. He said Nathan cleverly has high output. That could play a very role if they do fight when it comes to the judges. So we saw how that played out in his last few fights with Badou Jack. He has that high guard. When he gets hit and another fighter is hitting him, yeah, the punches don't look like they're hitting him. You can see it on television. Sometimes they're just hitting his arm. But to the judges, it's like, oh, that's going to play a very very pivotal role in this bout when it happens. Definitely 2K is the expert. He could break it down fully, what I'm saying. But what I'm basically saying is just to give it a gist for those that dumb it down for some of y'all. Jack is going to have to come in there, and even though he's very disciplined in how he fights, very technical, he's going to have to increase his output against a guy like Nathan Cleverly. But he's going to have to box smart. I like the fight. I think it's a smart fight. Yeah, you want to get to Andre Ward, go to Cleverly, and hopefully that WBA pushes to consolidate that lightweight belt. Very smart move. Twan, did they say when they're going to have that fight?
August 26th is looking like the date they're leaning towards August 26th.
Okay, that fight is going to be on the undercard of the fight we're not going to talk about or mention on this show. So I think that's a good thing. That's some great exposure. I've seen Nathan Cleverly fall when he fought Fair. He could throw over 1,000 punches in a fight. Clearly, but can Badou Jack match that? But if he can't match it, can he nullify that? Not by that hard guard, by countering and imposing his will by attacking Cleverly at the body, in and out movement. Don't let Cleverly get off on him and tee off on him and have his way.
Well, I think he just answered it already. That's one of the things that Badou Jack is very effective at is his body work. I mean, his efficiency, he's by far one of the more efficient fighters right now in the game as far as when it comes to what he puts out there and it actually connecting, he's up there. Because he has such a high output to the body. That's another one of the reasons why it's probably he has a high efficiency because he focuses so much on the body. So I actually see him breaking Cleverly down over the fight and slowing him down. I see him being close, keeping it close. As far as keeping Cleverly from being on the outside and popping his jab, that's pretty much what Cleverly likes to do for his high output. He's not going to do it in close quarters. You know, he does it and dances around, tries to move on you. You know what I'm saying? So Badou Jack, he's essentially going to have to do what he did against James DeGale, who's also a mover. Probably uses more lateral movement than Nathan Cleverly. So, I mean, in that match, it was the body work that ended up breaking him down over the fight, and he was able to catch him later on. We've seen Kovalev get to him. So, I mean, a lot of it is basically footwork against Cleverly, being able to cut off the ring. That's one of the things that Kovalev was able to do to overwhelm him. You know, he just attacked his ass. So, I mean, Badou is going to have to need a little bit more output, but I think it's going to be based off of his footwork and staying in close quarters as opposed to following him. He needs to cut off the ring like he did against DeGale and attack that body when he's in close quarters. But definitely a good fight. I like this move for Badou Jack in his first fight at 175. Put yourself in position for the top gun as they consider at 175 right now in Andre Ward. So definitely be looking forward to this one. And I guess I didn't pay attention to the date like that, but I guess it is going to be on that undercard. Oh, man. At least there'll be some real boxing on it. Yeah. At least there's some real boxing on the card, so we could be happy about that. I guess we're going to go into the U.O.E.N.O segment of the week, trying to do things a little bit of different order. On this day, and what year was it? Shit. Well, anyways, I'll get back to you guys on the year, but on this day, 19-something, I'll do it, I know. But now, on this day in 19-something, Mike McCallum won his 175 title on the undercard of a Virgil Hill fight in Bismarck, North Dakota. He won his bout against Jeff Harding in a 12-round decision, winning the WBC light heavyweight title. Shout out to the body snatcher. Man, definitely one of my favorite fighters ever. I got him in my top 3 at 154, like in history. He's like one of my top 354 pounders. And it ain't just because he's Caribbean. So shut up, Bo. Before you start talking that shit. Big up body snatcher. I'm a big fan of his. I don't know if how you guys feel about him as far as the big four, none of them fighting him.
Man, don't get me started on that. Don't get me started on that.
That is powerful. That is powerful in itself when you think about it.
Yes.
Mike McCallum was that dude. So, do your history, check him out. He didn't get a lot of the big money fights and big fights until later in his career. But he still made the most of his career, winning titles in 4 or 5 divisions. Well, 154, 160, 160. Yeah, so 4 divisions. Yeah, 4 divisions, man. So
there's a lot of fights you can watch when he fought Donald Curry. You can watch when he fought Colombe. He could get into that mix with them big four because they were trying to. This is what we talk about the business. They were trying to fight each other because it was money amongst fighting each other. And he just couldn't crack that, and he tried. But yeah, I'm don't even get me started on that right there, man.
All right. So yeah, I guess we're gonna start off with we'll go into our breakdowns for this weekend as far as fights. Man, this is a fight that I didn't even know was coming up until I checked it, this morning. Carl Frampton is fighting in a title eliminator, fight Gary Russell Jr. Next week. He'll be fighting Andres Gutierrez over in Scotland, I believe. I don't know much about Gutierrez, but man, let's just talk about the implications of this fight. Him winning and him possibly fighting in a match against Gary Russell Jr. Do you guys see that coming to fruition? Or is it him positioning for something else? I'll start out with Bernard.
I thought, let me say this, and correct me if I'm wrong, I thought Frampton was moving to 130.
So did I. This fight is
I'm surprised. Wow. I'm actually surprised at that. I was expecting. Well, I'm just gonna say this. I know he wants his rematch against Cruz, and he wants to have it in Belfast. He wants Cruz to honor that. Well, fine then. You can't if you don't want to do that. Fine then. I'll go through another route to get you to fight me. What another route you do that is you go fight for another title and hopefully compose a unification bout. That way you have leverage on bringing that fight to Belfast. And that's I'm thinking on in terms of business.
Sorry about that. I said Scotland. I meant Belfast. Sorry about that, y'all. All right, go ahead, Bernard.
So he's trying to go another route for a title, which I think is a smart move. But you got to understand, here's a problem. Gary Russell, hand speed, power. I'll put it like this. This year in boxing, even if it's not the fight, we got the fighters, the best fighters fighting the best fighter in the division. If it's not that, this year is also setting up a potential fight for either later on this year or next year. So I can't complain. I think it's a great move, a very great move call for her. I'll put it like this: if he wins this title eliminator, and then I'll believe it when I see it because of how Frampton ducked Rigo. I'm not saying he's gonna duck Russell, but I'm pretty sure that when he sees how Gary Russell fights, that hand speed and that power is coming to his head, because he can't go in there and try to pull some shit off like he did against Cruz, where he decided to brawl. That may play into Russell's hand. He's going to have to box Russell.
Yeah. All right. Let me pass it on the boat, man. Like I said, I don't know much about this Gutierrez guy that Frampton is facing. I just know that it's for a WBC featherweight title eliminator, putting him in line to fight Gary Russell. And that's got me amped just thinking about that possibility. So let me get your thoughts on it, both.
I like the possibility of it. I would like the possibility more if it was that damn Lee Shelby, because Gary Russell had been wanting a piece of that ass for a minute. Shelby is posed. I don't know. Has he fought Barrios already?
Yeah, he fought Barrios last week. And
okay,
won.
So right, all right. So, but I can't be mad at this if this is the route he wanted to take, and if this is what he's trying to do. I can't be mad at this. He's trying to go that route. I just think it's dangerous for him because I don't see him beating Gary Russell. I think Gary, like my partner said, the hand speed, the power, and everything like that, I don't see him beating Gary Russell. But, I mean, hey, if you think he could do that to force this fight with Leo Santa Cruz, then, okay, go ahead, because Leo Santa Cruz is about to fight Abner Mares again. And that's a unification match, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a unification match. So,
more consolidation.
Well, consolidation, right. So more props to him. They're getting it popping. But, oh, man, I'm just curious if he wins, does he actually go and fight Gary Russell?
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, will he fight Gary Russell, or will he try to, well, Gary, you want to fight, come over here to Belfast, and Gary like, man, kiss my black ass. So I don't know, man. A lot of things, but I like the move though.
Yeah, like I said, I'm excited about it just on the strength of it's a possibility. When none of these guys have necessarily wanted to see that fade yet with Russell when they had belts. Now that they, Frampton doesn't have a belt, he doesn't necessarily have to go after Russell now. So, I mean, I'm kind of wondering what the big deal or the issue behind him going this route is. Because I don't see him going after Russell. I honestly see him trying to take the Selby fight prior. That's going to be his priority, even if he wins this and wins this eliminator as a Lee Selby matchup over there in the UK or wherever they do it. I definitely don't see him stepping foot in the ring with Gary Russell ever. There's not too many people that want to see that fade at 126 right now. They talk it, but they damn sure don't walk it. So, we'll see. I'll be paying attention to the fight. Good luck to Frampton. But like I said, I think this is just really a setup for him and Lee Selby. Honestly, that's the biggest fight that can be made for either one of them. Most money. And it's still good at stake.
When you're right.
Yeah. All right. So that leads us to our next card that's taking place next week in New York at the Barclays, the big AB Mikey Garcia card. So I guess we'll do some breakdowns of the fights on that undercard as well. First off, we'll start off with Jarrell Big Baby Miller taking on Gerald Washington. Let me get your thoughts on that one, fellas, and the prediction. I'll start off with you, Bernard.
Wow, this is a fight that it's a good test for Big Baby Miller. You saw how Gerald Washington did did decent against Deontay Wilder with that jab until Deontay Wilder caught him with that right hand. First, I would like to see how Gerald Washington comes into this bout. Looking at him, is that going to be in his mind about getting knocked out, or is he going to try to come in here to make a statement? On my concern with Big Baby Miller, you're dealing with a taller fighter, the height that has a height advantage as well as the reach advantage. How are you going to come in and fight him? Are you going to go fight him? You definitely got to fight him on the inside. Can you get on the inside? And plus, too, how is your conditioning to withstand if this fight goes 12 rounds? And also, your conditioning, because you're going to be constantly trying to fight your way to get in the inside. Can you do it? That's going to be you need to be conditioned for that. So, with that being said and everything, with the fight, I'm looking, and my pick for this fight is going to be Gerald Washington. I'm going to say late round stoppage. I'm going for like anything ninth and past, Miller gets stopped.
All right, Bo.
Gerald Washington, Big Baby Miller. We talked about this before, and I said it then, I'll say it now. I've never been impressed by Big Baby Miller. I think he's not one of the tallest heavyweights. He's 300-some plus pounds. And let's keep one thing in mind, too. Gerald Washington's team is concerned about the fact of a failed steroid test that Big Baby Miller once had against him. So, this is a fight that Gerald Washington should win. Because we saw the skills that he has, which is pumping that jab. He is the taller man. All he has to do is fight like the taller man. Now, Big Baby Miller requires you to get up against the ropes so he can pound away on you. And Big Baby Miller can punch. Whether we like it or not, Big Baby can punch. But Gerald Miller should be able to win this fight, and if he gets into the later round, Big Baby Miller, that 300 pounds carrying around, being hit on, can maybe gas out a little bit. Yes. I have never been, I don't think I ever probably will be impressed with Big Baby Miller. I just think he's a guy who is just big, lifted weights, got in decent enough shape, got good pop, talk a fucking lot, and pretty much is a blundering fucking idiot in that ring, in my opinion. And that might be me being harsh, but it is what it is. He's a blundering fucking idiot, and I've seen no skill set from this motherfucker at all, period. Even when he's just sparring, I've seen no skill set from him. So this is a good fight for Gerald Miller. It should be an easy one for him. But if he gets caught up against the ropes and lets himself get caught up against the ropes, then I can see Baby Miller winning this fight as well. Because one thing about Gerald, we know if you hit him, he takes a good punch. But if you have a good enough punch, you hit him hard, he gets a little wobbly leg. So good fight. But I think Gerald Washington wins this fight.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The longer it goes, the more in favor it is of Gerald Washington. He's actually had some stamina issues in the past, but after going the distance in his most recent fights, except for, getting knocked out by Deontay Wilder in a fight that he was actually controlling, I think he kind of got his stamina issues under control. Definitely the key to this fight for him will be the jab, as Bernard was saying, but it has to be a strong one.
I agree.
I think it needs to be even better than it was against Deontay Wilder, considering Big Baby is a pressure fighter who's going to try and pressure him, get him against the ropes, and rough him up. He's going to look to attack in spurts. So that's why I say the jab has to be even more impressive in this one. I mean, it has to be stiff, and he has to move with it at the same time, because those are the things that will offset Big Baby, who needs to, set his feet to let his bombs go, even though he tries to bully his attack in. So, I mean, if you could keep him moving and having a reset and keeping your jab and holding your distance, I mean, it should be an easy night for you. I mean, Deontay was able to give him concussion and sparring based off of it, just off the jab. So, I mean, it's definitely a tool that's useful against a shorter fighter. And if you keep him moving all night, you know, of course, it's going to wear on them later rounds with his big body. So, I expect Gerald Washington to win by unanimous decision. But I wouldn't be surprised if Big Baby Miller got a late knockout in this as well. Was able to touch Washington with something that he pulled from his butt, basically. Guess we'll go to the next card or fight that's on that card. It's actually for a title eliminator as well. We got Rau'shee Warren making his return to the ring after losing to ZZ. He'll be making his debut at junior bantamweight, 115 pounds, to fight McJoe Arroyo. This is actually a pretty good fight, honestly. Let me get you guys' take on it, starting with Bo. They'll be fighting in the IBF junior bantamweight title eliminator. And like I said, that 115 division is smoking right now. That's the division with Chocolatito and all those other guys. So, I mean, you add Rau'shee Warren in the midst now. Crazy.
Bo.
Okay, I'll go first. Rau'shee Warren and who again? I didn't.
Arroyo.
McJoe Arroyo.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Now you know what I like. Now this fight I like. I'm not real high on Arroyo, because he's the one with the brother that's in that same division, right?
Yeah, he's the one that fought Chocolatito with one shoe, like with a fucked up shoe.
Right. I actually like this. I like this fight. Rau'shee Warren, the only thing about it is, you want to kind of get sold on Rau'shee Warren, but it's kind of hard to sometimes, man. He makes it hard for you. But it's a good fight. Arroyo was in there with Chocolatito. Rau'shee, he starts out strong, but he don't remain strong as the fight goes on. I forget what fight that was he had. Well, I thought he was going to win that fight because he came out kind of strong.
Yep.
And he faded toward the end. And it was like, oh, man. So I like this fight because Arroyo is the same way. Arroyo has his moments. He'll start out strong, fade, then come back and fade again. So it's going to be a very, very good fight. I think it's going to be high. Like we said, them dudes at 115, man, they're high action, high output. So it's going to be a very, very good fight. I could see some knockdowns, maybe even a knockout, to be honest with you, because these are two close quarter type fight dudes. So I like Arroyo in this fight, honestly, only because Rau'shee hasn't did anything. He hasn't changed the way he fights. He still fights the same way. He makes no adjustments. And if he fights this way against McArroyo, it favors McArroyo, in my opinion. But as far as the fight, I like the fight and the implications of this fight, because the winner of this fight could move on to bigger and better things, and like if Roman Gonzalez wins, and maybe even a U.O.E.N.O. So I like it, man.
The winner of the fight will be in a position to fight Gerwin and Cajas, who's the young guy, young champion under Manny Pacquiao's. He was
on that undercard.
Yeah,
that dude.
Nice little
that's
fighter.
A tough fight.
He's a nice little dude.
How about that? That's going to be a tough fight for whoever wins this fight. That's a tough fight, G. Real talk.
All right, Bernard, let me get your take on this one, man. Your prediction. What you think of the fight?
Agree with my partner, but there's one thing I would say: I am not sold on Rau'shee Warren. Mm-hmm. With that being said, this possibly is a 50-50 fight. I will, man, both pretty, I'm tongue twisted. Flo fuck you, bro. I was thinking about something else. You messed me up. Yeah, because he just messed me up. Okay, let me get my thoughts straight, people. Now,
yeah, get it straight, Bernard. We're live.
Warren, yeah, I know. Warren, right. Warren started off strong last fight against ZZ. Knocked him down, 2 or 3 times within the first 2 rounds. And after that, it was just. When I saw Warren fight Payano live in Chicago, I was not sold on Warren. Warren did not win that fight to me. With that being said, I need to see him. I hope he improves. You know, that's all you can ask. Hopefully he has his stamina up. Hopefully he has his game plan. And I hope he doesn't abandon his fucking jab in this fight. That's what he needs to utilize his speed and utilize that jab. Hit him, utilize his speed, hit him with the jab, apply that pressure, pop in and out. That's all he needs to do. And he can win these bouts easily and eventually get a knockout or whatever he has to do. But if he doesn't stick to that plan, and also keep your fucking hands up, man. And I was really pissed off how he fought ZZ. It was very horrible, and that's why he lost. So I'm not sold on him, so I'm going to pick Arroyo to pull it off.
I'm actually going to make this a unanimous decision among the panel. Arroyo gave Chocolatito everything he can handle, and he fought with 1 shoe on. That said, I don't think Rau'shee has the motor to fight these guys at 115. Like, his output wasn't necessarily super high at 122. At 118. And, you know, at 115, these guys are even higher motor as far as output when you look at the Estradas and, you know, the Newies and, you know, Chocolatitos. Like, these guys are actually higher motor. He's dealt with a high-pressure guys like ZZ and Payano, you know, that are rugged fighters. But, going down to 115, these guys actually have a little bit more skill set to go with it, I think. And McJoe, you know, just as accomplished amateur as Rau'shee Warren. He's been in there against the guy who was considered the pound-for-pound fighter for a while, you know, prior to his last loss. So I definitely got to favor McJoe. The only thing that I think is bad is that he's coming off a lot of inactivity. Like, his career hasn't necessarily been managed great since Chocolatito fight. So, that would be my main concern. But I think they kind of knew this fight was coming, so they were in some kind of preparation. This was actually announced on, 2 weeks' notice. So I don't know what kind of preparation either camp has been in.
Rau'shee Warren has been training. I will say that I've seen him on his Instagram, and he's been training 8 weeks out, at least 6 to 8 weeks out. So he has to
be a fight coming up. I just don't. I'm surprised. This is actually a fight that should have had a little bit more time to build. Honestly, not like on the scale of building on a super fight, but I'm just saying both of the fighters coming in and being at their best. You know, because like I said, McJoe Arroyo is a very good fighter. Rau'shee, you know, he's ex-titleist. So, these are definitely good guys. You just want them to be at their most prepared state, which I'm not sure they are with this fight being announced, you know, pretty much on 2 weeks' notice. But I definitely think Arroyo should be able to win this one. He's used to the weight class and the motor that comes with it. I don't think Rau'shee is going to be necessarily ready for the output that comes with this weight class, but we'll see. Leads us to our next fight, which I believe is the big one. Oh, no, actually another title eliminator. Jermall Charlo making his 160-pound debut, fighting in the WBC middleweight title eliminator against Jorge Sebastian Heiland. Man, the implications of this one the winner will be going on to face, it looks like, the winner of Triple G versus
Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, well, whoever. Yeah, I think the belt might actually be vacant if
Canelo wins.
Because Canelo said he don't want that shit.
He don't fuck with the WBC. Fuck them.
Yeah, so I mean that shit could actually end up vacant if Gennady loses. Anyways, yeah, let me get you guys' thoughts on this fight and Charlo looking to make a bang, statement. He says his power will translate immediately to 160. Bernard, let me get your thoughts on this one.
I can't really speak on his opponent because I have no clue who he is or who he's fought, and I say that because who is Heiland? Well, I know Charlo. I see Charlo pulling it off. I'm not gonna say knockout, but I definitely want to say it's going to be a dominant performance unanimously. Unanimously. Damn, let me get some water, my sis. I got cotton mouth.
Why you got cotton mouth?
Don't worry about that.
Man, what the fuck we hearing on this show today?
Yo, but yeah, he's gonna win unanimously, and like I said, he's coming in. He's gonna make a statement for the WBC. I'm kind of shocked though. Well, I shouldn't be shocked. The WBC, they do what they want with their division by throwing Charlo that quick because he came in under the IBF sanctioned body. So I guess the statement he made against J-Rock impressed the WBC for them to give him a title shot. So,
all right, passing on the Bo, and just to give a little background on Heiland. I mean, he comes from that Argentina school. I mean, there's a lot of rugged guys from down there. WBC international title holder for quite some time. His biggest fight is against Matthew Macklin, which he won by KO 3 years ago, but he's fought relatively only in Argentina against little-known competition. So I'll go ahead and let Bo give his thoughts on this one.
Oh, man. It's okay. We talk about the ranking system, so you can't necessarily blame Charlo, because this is what the ranking system is doing. However, I do like the fact that this is a fight that's going to be an eliminator matchup, that Charlo is puts him in a good position. I think he wins this fight, to be honest with you. I think he actually wins and probably wins this motherfucking fight quite easily. If we keep it real, I think he wins it and wins it fairly easily. But, oh, man, the thought that he could maybe even win the WBC belt, because, like we said, if Canelo wins, he might not keep that belt. So then they'll have a fight for that vacant belt. So, wow, dog. I like this, man. I like this. I like everything about it. I like the fact that these guys are challenging themselves. Granted, it's the dude from Argentina. He comes, like you said, Twan, he comes from the Argentina school. You can't really dismiss him. But then again, I can't exactly see him, beating Charlo either, though. So, a good fight. I see Charlo winning this fight. And now we just got to see what happens next. Like I said, man, it's a curious game now, because what happens once once this fight is done, everything that happens next is going to be based off of what Canelo Alvarez does, what the outcome of that fight is going to be.
Yeah,
but I like this fight for Charlo. I haven't seen nothing from the guy he's facing that should give him trouble. But again, this is boxing. But Jermall Charlo is reaching a level that we're seeing in front of our eyes. Like, and my partner say this, I like his attitude, because people was mad at him when he made that comment, like, man, shit, fuck him. Shoot, I'm about to fight that ass, so I'm not going to sit here and talk nice about him. Fuck him. And I'm like, yeah, that's how you should be. I know motherfuckers don't like it, but it's like, shit, that's how that boy
Yes,
is.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
You know?
I definitely see Jermall winning this by UD. Heiland's lost a couple times, never been knocked down or knocked out. So, I mean, we'll see if his power translates early in this fight. I definitely think he'll be able to hit him with some good shots. I just don't think he'll be able to get the Argentine out of there. So I predict the UD for him. Man, there's some interesting scenarios that could play out. Like, we mentioned Canelo possibly dropping the belt if he wins.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at that, I mean, him, Daniel Jacobs right there, David Lemieux, Murata's fighting for the WBA belt again against Endon. So, I mean, that's pretty much who we're looking at being in that next list of guys, Jermall Charlo, Daniel Jacobs, and David Lemieux.
Mm-hmm.
So the WBC has some big things at stake here. Canelo, go ahead and drop that belt. I'm not mad at any of the matchups we can get out of this, personally.
Have y'all seen how Canelo's height is up? How him and the Charlos are taller than Canelo. I'm not saying that doesn't matter.
Dude, they almost
they're
way bigger
right.
than him. Like they're
way
pushing
bigger
6
than him,
feet.
man.
Well, I know Jermall is pushing 6. I think Jermall is a little shorter, but Jermall is definitely the taller one. He's like pushing 6, if not more. So we'll see how these fight pans out on Saturday, which leads us to our big main event for the evening, man. AB versus Mikey Garcia for the WBC Diamond belt title, which is another story in itself, man. Don't become the WBA. No, don't do that shit, man. Don't become what the WBA was and is trying to get away from. Anyways, let me get you guys' thoughts on this fight, your predictions. We've seen a little swing as far as the odds recently. Initially, Mikey Garcia was the heavy favorite, still the favorite now, but we're starting to see people get on that train and have faith in AB again, considering he's been on task and making weight and looking like he's playing the role of being prepared. Bo, let me get you to start off on this one, man. Your thoughts on this fight and winner.
As always, I always say I hate the fact that we have to base everything off of a focused Adrien Broner. I thought it was criminal that Mikey Garcia was such a heavy favorite. He was a 5-1 favorite at one point. I thought not only was it criminal, I thought it was highly disrespectful to Adrien Broner, and I think Adrien Broner saw that, and this is what made him get motivated. I'm also say this too. I think that when you look at this, Adrien Broner is looking at it like, man, y'all gonna get the little brother. Y'all trying to get the little brother to come fight me? You know what I'm saying? Like, this a little dude. You know, Marcos Maidana beat me. He's already feel some kind of way about that. So he lose to Marcos Maidana. Maidana beats him. And now y'all going to bring in a little motherfucking brother? Man, fuck that. So that's his motivation. It's a good fight to me. It's a pick-em fight. I say this all the time, only because of this one reason right here. Mikey Garcia is going to be the most technically sound fighter Adrien Broner has ever fought in his life. Mikey Garcia is very precise. He has good precision. He's very precise. He has decent power. The thing with power is, does it translate up? Now, Adrien Broner is going to be the most athletic fighter Mikey Garcia has ever faced, ever. And we know that Mikey Garcia has chin issues. He's been down before from less opponents. However, Adrien Broner, because people talk about Adrien Broner's power, but the thing is, when you come down in weight from being up. I'm just curious if Adrien Broner's body is going to allow him to translate his power because he's coming down. Going up, it's always, tell people all the time, it's always easier going up than coming down, always. So I like this fight. In my opinion, it's a 50-50 fight. Now, the person who needs this fight is Adrien Broner. Adrien Broner cannot afford to lose this fight. He loses this fight, that's it. It's over. So he can't afford to lose this fight. Now, if he loses, like if he goes 12 rounds and it's a decision and some people think it's a fucked up decision, okay. We can overlook that. But if he just flat out gets out, gets beat, flat out gets beat, no, man, that's not going to look good for AB at all, period. So Adrien Broner needs this fight. If Mikey Garcia wins this fight, then, kudos to him. And if he loses this fight, it doesn't do anything to him because he can still go back down to 130 and, make fights with Jorge Linares and stuff of that nature. And, of course, people always say, well, Mikey Garcia went up to 140 to fight Adrien Broner. So he didn't have to do that, and he doesn't have to do that. So I like it. Very good fight. Has some good implications as far as what can happen for the loser and the winner. But in my opinion, this is the fight that Adrien Broner needs. If Adrien Broner loses this fight to a smaller guy, Mikey Garcia, something that's not controversial as far as decision, it can be bad for him. Like if he's getting outboxed or even getting knocked out, it could be bad for him. If Mikey Garcia loses this fight, like I said, he can go back down to 135. But because Mikey has been the more consistent fighter, Mikey has shown a certain level of consistency and professionalism and always being prepared, a lot more than Adrien Broner. I have to side with that. But I do like you. I like what I'm seeing with it because I'm looking at his training camp, man. He got Hunter, Stevenson, and Crawford in his training camp, Jack. So I definitely like what I'm seeing. And if we can get that Broner that fought DeMarcos, it could be a long day for Mikey Garcia. But good fight, man. I think this is going to be a come to Jesus moment for AB.
All right, Bernard, your take on this fight?
I disagree with a statement that Bo said that it was totally disrespectful. 5-1. Let's be honest. The reason why that 5-1 was put out there is because how AB has proceeded to, not about the bout billions, not about his persona. It's his work ethic. Mm-hmm. His work ethic got him that 5-1 in Vegas on Mikey Garcia and being a more favorable fighter. With that being said, and we know how Mikey Garcia is, he's technically sound. Heck, if you've been watching, anybody's been keeping up with the Fight High videos, they said it himself that Mikey Garcia is harder than Maidana. So apparently, I'm not going to say his power translates up to 140. That's not what I'm saying. But expect Broner to feel some power. We have a problem with Broner here. Okay, yeah, Broner is trying to prove to people that, hey, I could make weight. But that's not the issue we're talking about. Can you consistently be mentally prepared, go in that fight and box him? Let your fucking hands go. That's what I mean. Let your fucking hands go. And also, 2K was talking about, get out that wide stance. I think we spoke about it before. I want to see what's his name? Broner use his footwork. Do like he did when he fought John Molina on PBC. When he talking about, hey, I'm a different Broner, I'm changed, this and that, right? And he ended up coming in that fight, and he wasn't running, but you noticed that John Molina was looking to land that overhand right, and Broner was avoiding it at all costs. He was using his foot because Molina wasn't using his fucking jab. Broner was using his jab to the head, to the body. He was doing all that. He was boxing him. I want to see that Broner. Not necessarily as a beat one that fight DeMarco. I want to see the Broner that fight John Molina. I know it's kind of crazy. I don't want to see the Broner that sits there and takes punches and try to stay in the shoulder roll and do this and that. And then when he gets that pressure hits him, he's trying to clinch, but it looks sloppy as hell. So, he's doing whatever he's trying to do. My thing is this. I want to see that Broner that fight. Use your footwork, man. Use that jab. Use your speed. Use your athleticism that you have to avoid. Think. But with all that being said, I feel like Mikey Garcia is going to do the same game plan that Maidana did. Not like that, but more in a technical manner. He's going to apply that pressure, and he's going to get a late round stoppage. I say late, 10th round. I've been calling it.
Well, there's been a style that's been a kryptonite for AB in his career. You know, we've seen it against Daniel Ponce de Leon, Marcos Maidana, Sean Porter. It's guys that can pressure you. I'm not necessarily sure that's what we're going to see from Garcia because that's not what he does. I just know he has the capability of doing it because of who his trainer is. I mean, that's one of the things they teach there. Mikey's a better boxer. You know, one of the more sound boxers, though. I think he's had the advantage of growing up, you know, with his dad being a trainer, his brother being two of his brothers actually being ex-boxers. And it's usually the youngest one that soaks all that shit in and is the better one. You know, it happens a lot. Like, I've seen it plenty of times in boxing. So,
I mean, look at Floyd. His dad and uncle and Floyd is probably the better outside of boxing. Yeah,
exactly.
Sure, all three, yeah. Totally agree.
So, I mean, he comes from a fighting family. This shit is, like, really, really in his blood. I mean, even mental, from the mental aspect, I think it's in his blood. That's the one thing I don't think we know if AB has. We know he has the athleticism, but does he have the mental sparks in the ring? Because when he's been had to face adversity inside the ring, he hasn't necessarily done the best, you know, or reacted well to it. Mikey, on the other hand, he has. You know, we've seen him down on the canvas earlier in his career, came back and knocked the motherfucker out. You know what I'm saying? So, but there's definitely a lot at stake here. I can see why the odds are getting closer as the fight gets near. AB looks focused, and if you technically break it down,
he's eating soup.
He's the biggest puncher that the Garcia has faced, and Garcia, like I said, Garcia's been down. So, I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, a shot can put him down from AB, and if AB could capitalize on it, it could change the tide of a fight. But technically, I mean, skill for skill, I think Mikey is the better fighter, and I'm going off of that. You know, he sparred with my Dynasty chief sparring partner in his camps for Floyd, so I don't think the power is necessarily an issue. I think he might be. I think he should be able to deal with the power for the most part. I think if he gets into a wrestling match is when it would be a detriment to him. So, I mean, there's actually a lot of things AB can do to neutralize and win this fight, but he's going to have to be on the top of his game, and it's an AB we haven't seen. And like I said, other than the Marco and the John Molina fights, you know, he didn't look good against Ashley Theophane. He didn't look good against Adrien Granados. I mean, he just hasn't looked good.
I thought he looked
that fight, to be honest with you.
I don't think he beat Granados, honestly. I thought he lost.
That's what I said. Yeah, I thought Granados won that fight, if we being, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is facing a guy that's technically sounder than all of those guys and is a three weight division champion. I mean, it's kind of hard to go against that. Even though he is going up 5 pounds in weight and has that going against him, against a naturally bigger, more athletic guy. But I think he has the mental ability and just the technical skill set to be the AB. More diverse. So I'm definitely going to go with Mikey in this fight, but I wouldn't be surprised if AB shocks us. And that's not hedging my bets, but I wouldn't be shocked, considering the size, you know, and the power that AB actually has. We've seen it carry up to either 147 against Sean Porter. You know, he put him down when guys like Keith Thurman Haven't been able to knock him down. So that shows you AD really does have legit pop. Yeah, man. Bernard, let's go into your fucker your boxing award or fucker of the week.
Man, I'm gonna say this. I don't really want to give this fool any more press. He shouldn't even got to. For the fact that boxing put this article out, this fool said, and I'm talking about fool, the peanut butter hand man, Billy Ho-Sana said he will fight Willie Monroe for $75. The lie test determined that was a lie. You didn't fight Gabe Rosado for more than that. You didn't fight. He didn't fight. He didn't want to fight Gabe Rosado. Then wasn't there supposed to be a potential fight with Willie Monroe before that? It was like all these opponents that Billy Ho was supposed to fight. Didn't happen. He said, I will fight Willie Monroe for $75. This right here, example to people, is somebody that is babysitting the belt, talking all this shit, and I just want to see him lose. Point blank, period. Because I'm tired of this cat and his nonsense. Like, it's ridiculous. All this fuck shit he be talking, and he ain't fighting nobody. He's holding on to the WBO belt. You know what? I would be cool if that motherfucker was signed to Bob Arum. That's who he needs to be signed with. But, man, the fucking award goes to Billy Ho-Sana for talking that bullshit. It's a nonsense. I can't wait till he fucking loses. Willie Monroe, I'm supporting Willie Monroe. I hope he wins. And that's it.
All right. Fellas, when do y'all want to do a final blow or y'all want to take it off this week, man? I don't really have anything to add for a final blow this week. We had a lot of topics.
There's always something to say for a final blow.
All right, I'll go ahead and let Bo take this one, man.
I never said that. I'll take it. There's always something to say for a final blow. Boxing in 2017 is probably at the point where we wanted it to be and probably at a point that we hoping will happen next year. And with that being said, let's stop trying to say who's doing what better and all that. Let's just give praise to all of them. And this is for myself included. Let's just give praise to all of them. I'm not saying don't call them on their bullshit. I'm not saying that. If it's bullshit, call them on it. But let's sit back and appreciate these fights. Who gives a fuck who the promoter is? Who gives a fuck who benefits from that? We are fans. We're not lawyers. We're not promoters. We ain't even part of the fucking team. We're fans. So let's behave ourselves like fans and appreciate these fights and why they're happening, because the cold hard reality is the reason why the UK fan base and the European fan base is so much more better than ours is for that reason right there. Appreciation. Okay? Chris Eubanks Jr., we know, fought a guy in Arthur Abrams who, come on, we know he's not still the same dude. But guess what? They appreciated that because it's still boxing. So let's show our appreciation for it. Let's stop trying to divide ourselves, hardcores and casuals and all. No, man. This is the best year we've been asking for. Guys are making moves that we want them to make, and let's give them their praise, okay? Let's stop, unless you telling me you ready to put some gloves on and get your ass in the fucking ring, then shit. Stop talking about fight. If a fighter is showing me he's trying and he wants to do something better, hey, more props to you. I'm going to give it to you. But the fighters who aren't trying to do anything better and things is happening around him, we need to get on their ass. We need to get on mainstream media ass for giving certain fights a pass, okay? And using that ancient old fucking excuse about, money this, money that. No, either it's we want to see dudes fight or we don't, okay? And I'm sick and I'm tired, like everybody else, of Danny Garcia fighting once a year, Keith Thurman, but okay, he's injured. But hell, I'm just like everybody else. Yeah, I want to see these motherfuckers in the ring more. But since they're not getting in the ring, I'm gonna look at everybody else that is getting in the ring. David Benavidez is stepping his game up, like we said. Hurd and all of this. Boxing is in a really good place this year. You have Top Rank on ESPN, and I hope it succeeds. I don't want to see no part of boxing fail. I don't care who you are. I don't hate anybody. I want to see it succeed, but in order for it to succeed, I also want to see them work together so it can be as successful as it can possibly be. And I don't give a fuck who gets credit for it, okay? Because we, the fans, benefit from when all of these people are working together. We benefit from when we get the best fights. It don't matter who gets the fucking credit, who gives a shit, as long as we get the fight. So let's stop this shit. Let's stop dividing amongst ourselves. We are a community. If mainstream media don't want to talk about nothing, then you know what? Start your platform and do like we're doing right here at the Movement, and you talk about it. It's not that hard, but be honest, be real, and
unbiased.
And unbiased. And like my man 2K would say, stop the fucking hate.
All right. A lot of good points brought up by Bo. Biggest year in boxing in quite some time. We thought this is what we would see in 2015 after a mega match. You know, it's taken 2 years for this stuff to come to fruition, but it's here now. We're getting competitive fights across the board. A lot more viewership, which is a good thing. And I definitely want to your testament about the UK fans, man. That's very powerful. When you could make a living off a regional belt and be known, glamorized in your country off of regional titles, that's real support. You imagine somebody with an NABF belt here. I mean, don't nobody know who you are here. You got an NABF title or something regional. So, I mean, that's a lot of love right there. And we definitely need to get more of that here in the States, man. But with that said, man, I'm going to let everybody get their handles before we get up out of here. Starting off with Bernard. Where can I get you at, man?
Oh, you can find me, a.k.a. Detective B, on Instagram at The Movement BP, DAMUVMENT You can also find me on Twitter at The Movement Boxing, DAMUVMENTBOXING. The D, M, and the B is capital. Find me on Facebook in the Movement Facebook group, as well as Eastwick, SSS Boxing, talking boxing and bullshit, as well as Fisticuffs Boxing, Ring IQ, all the majority of the good, decent boxing groups. We also in the casual as well, handing out L's. We're currently still undefeated. With that being said, yeah, check us out on these groups, man. You know, break down, let's chop it up on some boxing, man. And, you know, we'll have some decent conversation. In fact, we also like to have fun, too, so jump in. Also, I want to say this, too, is more stuff on the Movement Instagram will be coming soon, Detective B, the Chronicles of Detective B. So.
Yeah, he's definitely keeping our Instagram popping. I get a kick out of it. I can't necessarily. I be wanting to like all our own posts. I can't. But he's definitely been killing it lately. Let me go ahead and pass it on to Bo. Your social media handles. Where can they find you at, man?
Man, you can find me on YouTube, Truth and Fact About Boxing. And I just want to say that this is the official day of 1 year of Truth and Facts About Boxing.
Congratulations.
Yeah, 1 year, man, of Truth and Facts About Boxing. Shout out to my man B, because, you know, when we first started out, we would do the skits at the end, but I think you're getting more from the Instagram page with those skits, which is solid as shit. And man, I you know, because a couple people been asking me, you know, you and Bernard beefing, y'all like, no, we ain't beefing, motherfucker, we grown ups. This is what grown ups do, okay? This is how grown ups behave. Goddamn, he's branching out, doing his thing, but you still see him on the show.
Let me address that real quick. Here's the thing: if Bo is doing his thing, going pound for pound, Guard Your Grill and all the other Ring IQ and Hands of Fire boxing podcasts. If he's doing his thing, and I'm just sitting there stagnant, it's kind of like, you know what? I need to step up my game too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is nothing wrong with it. Yeah, I've done pound for pound. I've done some other things too as well. But I'm like, you know what? My lane is the skits. I know skits, and also doing research. And so with credit to Twine, allowing me to be on this podcast and join the movement, and as well as do the Instagram page and the Twitter. So that's what I'm taking over. I'm not taking over, but putting my hands at. So I'm still repping Truth and Facts about boxing, but also repping the movement at the same time. So we're all it's a partnership. So
exactly.
If I do something, it benefits all five of us. So it's no beef. I gotta find my niche. I know how to stay in my lane and play my position, and I'll play it well. So I don't get out of my lane. So I'll say that.
Right. Well, yeah, and you can also find me on Twitter at capital T for Truth _ capital F for Fact Box 1. Also Instagram at Truth _ Facts. Now my Instagram ain't as popping as the movement because of them goddamn skits be putting up. But I be putting up the little things about me and my daughter, and that shit is always funny as shit too. So and like B said, pound for pound, main event, Guard Your Grill, We Live, Eat, Sleep, Boxing, Ring IQ, Hands of Fire podcast, right here with you guys at the movement and at the movement Facebook page also as well. You know, shout out to Willie the Kid. You know, he got Eastwick talking boxing and bullshit. The return of Tyrese. His wife has let his punk ass off punishment. He back on motherfucking Facebook. So the return of Tyrese. You have trouble. Right, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you understand the return of Tyrese. And you know what? Let me say something, man. Here at the movement, all of us have our own thing, and like my man B said at the end, but we start out and we branch out. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That shit is called growth. And with that being said, we don't get mad at each other. So I just want my boys to know that punk ass fucking picture that you copied and pasted up on the fucking page when I was making fun of my family when I had that shower cap on with that dress. I got you niggas. I got something for you niggas. All right, I just want you niggas to know. I got you niggas. And I got something for you niggas.
Hey, I wouldn't even mention that. Well, shit. Yeah, I think you kind of gave yourself. I would never said anything, dog. I was just waiting. Oh yeah, 2K don't think I forgot about that missing person, thing either. Yeah, I got something for him.
Y'all. I got y'all. And our boys 2K couldn't be here. 2K and Big Cool couldn't be here. Shout out to them. Props to on a sad note, man, a very close friend of mine passed away this morning. We went to high school together, grew up together, everything, man. Just like family passed away, so RIP to him and his family. And 2K couldn't be here. He didn't have enough eggs to get him up for the show, so he couldn't make it. Big Cool couldn't be here. He had to negotiate that Twinkie contract.
And that fried bologna sandwiches.
Yeah, and that fried bologna sandwiches. Shout out to our boys, man. And, man, here, look, like we said, here at the movement, yeah, we talk boxing. Yes, hey, man, listen, yes, we talk shit to people, but we are fair. And, we are fair. We a group, and we love the sport. And that's why what y'all see us doing, we do it for the sport, because ain't no big motherfucking paychecks came this goddamn way. Although 2K, with his 3 million subscribers, I think he holding the fuck out.
He done spent it all on eggs. That's what it is.
Eggs and protein shakes. Eggs and protein shakes.
Be on the lookout for 2K's new book coming out. His his smoothie recipe book. His favorite morning thing is the kale, beet, powdered eggs, and sausages in a blender, in the juicer. Yeah. That's how he get down. He likes
my breakfast. Yeah.
So be on the lookout for his smoothie book coming out in a couple weeks. But yeah, man, shout out
and
to
his workout plan too. It comes out with a pre-workout plan.
You're right, his pre-workout plan.
Nah, but big up to our brothers UTMBO, man. 2K, the Prodigy of Boxing, his YouTube channel. Big Cool from Colossal Boxing Talk, also his YouTube channel, and you can catch him on their Facebook page, Colossal Boxing Talk. Hopefully his big ass could be on next week. He ain't been on in a minute. 2K, you might have to edit that part out. But yeah, we're going to catch you all next week. Till then, I'm Twan the Divine Liberty of HoopJab.com, man, and we're going to keep bringing you all this news, unbiased. You know, like the fella said, you know, we all got our own separate entities, but together we are the movement.
The movement.
You know what I'm saying? Peace.